Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the mainstream of the HCG Season 1 Masters Tournament. My name is Tudor, and today we are going to be, basically picking things right where we left them off. Obviously, the next matchup that we currently have on the docket for you guys on this channel is going to be ONYX against BPFive. And in case if you guys did happen to miss out on the earlier series that we broadcasted, let's say roughly about an hour and a half ago is when it initially concluded, and it started at 1 p.m. That was, that was quite the series indeed that was played. It's already starting to blank out on me, which is not great. It was played by Squad and Masonic. Masonic obviously hailing from Denmark, and they were able to take their first series right here in HCG 2-0 on Mirage, as well as Dust 2. Score lines being 16-5 and 16-6 respectively. It was quite a stern showing from them, and hopefully we'll be able to carry, well, I want to say let's drop the steamroll for this next matchup and actually let's get things a little bit more juicy and actually keep things a little bit more competitive in our upcoming series of ONYX versus BPFive. So obviously, let's go ahead and discuss these two rosters just a little bit and do some theory crafting. I know that's it can be a little bit boring, it can be a little bit dull, but obviously it is just part of building up that natural storyline and informing each and every single one of you guys as to what you can expect from these two squads that are being, that are going to be showcasing themselves within the server. So, right out of the gate, the first thing that you will notice is BPFive. Renowned roster, has been together for some very, very long time, except this current iteration of their roster is easily like the most recent thing that has popped up thus far. If I'm not mistaken, we have some newfound members which have just sort of waltzed into the roster and have basically been part of it for the better part of the last 2 months. So this roster, it is still sort of going through that honeymoon phase, and it is still obviously sort of just I want to say finding itself and really building up its repertoire. On the opposing side of the things, ONYX, completely different story. They've only been together for about 3 weeks as of today, according to HLTV. So fresh roster, fresh out of the gates. We're going to see exactly how they can handle themselves within the server. Now, I do believe that we also have a map veto ready to be shown up on screen momentarily. So let's go ahead and discuss our war zones, plural, yes, of choice for today's best of 3 series. BPFive obviously starting off with a vertigo ban. Doesn't seem all too surprising in the slightest whatsoever, given that it is one of the maps that they choose not to play all too often, and when they do, they don't have the greatest of win rates on it either. Follow-up ban is going to be Overpass, and BPFive is opting to actually bring out Dust 2 to kick off this first map of this best of 3 series. We did see Dust 2 a little bit earlier between Squad and Masonic. It was 16-6, as I stated a little bit earlier, and hopefully this one's going to be a bit of a tighter score line. And praise the Lord be He, we've got Nuke, my all-time favorite map, so I'm surely going to have a very, very fun time with that one personally, and I hope you will as well. So we got our first 2 maps already set in stone, Dust 2 and Nuke. Nuke is technically the third, or if not actually the second best map on the list of BPFive, with a sample size of about 44 times played and a win rate of about 55%. So it is technically heavy favored towards them, and that might be the Dust 2 graphic, but trust me, that is Mirage that is getting banned out finally by ONYX, and Mirage, it is BPFive's best map on paper. But we shall go where the best teams go to die. Our decider map is Inferno. Should we make it all the way to map 3, you can definitely expect that one to quite literally be the backbreaker for either one of these two sides. So there you have it. We'll be starting things off with Dust 2, Nuke to follow up, and then Inferno should we get there. And we have roughly about a minute or so before we actually hop into the game itself. The one thing that, as I said, I'm going to continue to hammer away throughout the remainder, throughout the entire best of 3 series this time around, is ONYX. They're a new team. They're basically coming into this one completely fresh face. We don't know exactly what we can expect from them. We don't know exactly how fresh of a roster they are and how experienced they all are together cohesively as a squad. As I said, according to HLTV, they have been together for about 3 weeks thus far. They're hailing from Hungary as well, so this is going to be a Hungarian derby between these two squads. And if ONYX are able to actually walk away with a victory here, trust me, I would be very, very surprised. So it's going to be extraordinarily interesting to see exactly how these two squads hailing from Hungary are going to be able to put up with each other. We do, for example, we obviously can't see that ONYX, for example, they have been playing in V4 Future Sports as of recently, playing against the likes of Sinners, eSuba, and not necessarily seeing the best of success. They did also play earlier in the recent year in 2021 against 777 in the Malta Vibes Knockout Series, and also 777. They are one of the rosters that we do feature right here within the HCG tourney. But all in all, we're seeing a lot of question marks on the side of ONYX. We don't know exactly what they're going to be able to offer. For those of you guys that have maybe seen some of their demos, seen some of their VODs, then I wish I was you. I wish I had a little bit more information to work with, but I'm almost completely in the dark about what this squad entirely has to offer. At the exact same time, I do want to reiterate the fact that, as I said, BPFive, they've also been going through some minor roster changes here and there, with a couple of players having recently joined as well. You've naturally got players such as, let's go ahead and take a look at, you've got Gooby, who is one of the newest additions, basically a full-time starter who's been with the roster for a solid 16 days. Then you've got Caller and Insert that have joined the roster just about 2 months ago. The longest standing member is actually Flav, who's been with the roster BPFive for about 2 years thus far. So he's likely going to be IGLing. He is likely going to be leading this roster, the brunt of the spear, all the way to victory, seeing if they can plow their way through ONYX. As far as our map choices are concerned, yeah, Dust 2, that was BPFive's initial pick thus far. And despite the fact that it isn't one of their best maps that they have available in the in their map pool, it could genuinely go either one of the two ways. Currently, the lifetime win rate that BPFive have under the belt for Dust 2 is a little bit abysmal. It's about 31.6%. Not ideal. That couldn't, that at the very least, I don't suspect it to actually match up all too strongly against the side of ONYX, but we'll naturally just have to wait and see once we can dive right into the action. And before we do so, quick word from our sponsors as per usual. For those of you guys that are unaware, HCG is currently sponsored and partnered with two different companies. Naturally, we've got Plasma and we've got Coin Motion. Plasma being the little bit of a funky one with the A written as a 4. Obviously, you can go ahead and type ! sponsors or partners in our Twitch chat, and you can gain information to everything you want to know about Plasma and Coin Motion. But Plasma is an esports nutrition product, basically just like a G Fuel powder that you can mix around, drink it, snort it, do whatever the heck you want with it. Obviously, the best thing about it is the fact that it's diabetes compliant, obviously, so you don't have to worry about it having that much of a major effect on your health. And it is made of all vegan, gluten-free, and lactose-free products, so it is about as clean as it can get. In Coin Motion, Finland's leading cryptocurrency trading platform. So if you are looking to maybe start getting yourself into the world of crypto trading, I highly recommend getting to work with Coin Motion a little bit, as have I. But the waffle may finally come to an end as we are finally able to kick off the action right here. BPFive versus ONYX on Dust 2. I'm so excited to see exactly what ONYX are going to put up on. I believe they're actually on the CT side. Yeah, there we go. HUD had a slight little issue, but we got that fixed. Don't you worry about it. Either way, BPFive immediately looking to take a lot of free real estate over towards this long side smoke. I thought that was actually Bosch for a second, not gonna lie. It did land just a little bit short. Doesn't exactly properly cover the CT angles all too well, but they're able to slip past in ripe fashion. Boost. Successful, but Sino can't actually capitalize as Flav will be able to draw first blood. Coolio claps back. Post-plan situation now asserted on the side of BPFive as Kolar is able to actually shut down Scene. Goes in for just so much more as Kolar ramps up the aggression and finds a 3-piece with the Glock 20 right there. Actually, scratch that. Make it a 4th, because why the hell not? Kolar leading the side of BPFive, straight onwards and upwards to victory in the opening pistol round on the T side. And they're going to be reaping the rewards from it. You got a couple of Galils, some AKs, and a MAC-10 to work with. Meanwhile, though, ONYX, what are y'all going to do? Seems as if they've gone for 2 scouts surrounded by deagles. Now, if this goes horribly wrong for ONYX, which, statistically speaking, it's likely gonna, they'll be left stranded with no money into the next round, and won't be able to put up a buy until round number 4, when their loss bonus is effectively maximized. Still, though, for the time being, BPFive might want to keep ONYX on their toes just a little bit. Maybe not go for the exact same A exec as in the first round, but maybe just spice things up. Throw a wrench into the works, see what can be done. At the very least, short has been blocked off, but they probably don't care. They're going to wait for it to dissipate ever so slightly before they push on forwards. Aaron takes a little bit of scout damage as well before Insert is able to light up the kill feed. Finds Coolio to kick things off. A bomb site has been mollied off entirely, but to their surprise, nobody's actually staffing it for the time being. Everyone on the side of ONYX is miles away, worlds apart from this A bomb site, and they'll likely have to forfeit this round and hunker down, wait for a couple of exit frags to wander aimlessly into their direction. Fleev and Aaron are going to have to play their lives very carefully. Single shot from those Deegs or that scout is going to put them 6 feet under, and they can lose out on some very valuable weaponry. Aaron about to lock horns. And he unfortunately falls, so the MAC-10 off to the wayside, but not exactly the biggest of upgrades that you could hope for on the CT side. And the rest of BPFive, they're going to be chilling just a little bit inside of the pit. But that is, all in all, a second round on the side of BPFive, and it really didn't seem... It didn't seem so effortful. They didn't really have to work for it. They got themselves 1 frag on 1 player who was in and around short. And that was basically it. The entire bomb site that was just kind of offered up to them. 8 players make it alive out of the server in that particular round, and we shall be carrying onwards and upwards. So ONYX building up as much of a bank as possible, and they still got those scouts and deagles that they carried over from the last round, which hopefully can be put to good use in this instance. We did see those scouts actually come alive just a little bit, dealing out a lot of damage, but the lethality simply wasn't there on the side of ONYX. So naturally, the question is, how are ONYX going to go about this particular round? Because obviously you're aiming to buy in the next round number 4. Do you play it a little bit more aggressively? Do you go for some more obnoxious wide swings? Do you gamble stack one of the 2 bomb sites and just try to milk as much value of those weapons as possible before you upgrade to A1Ss and maybe even an op in the next round? Not exactly sure how it's going to work out. Either way, though, the one thing that I can't say for sure before the action finally starts is that ONYX are looking to cause, or at the very least, in my mind, I'm hoping that they're willing to cause as much damage as possible with the weaponry that they have available, just to ensure that they actually, you know, are worth the investments that they initially made in that round number 2. I also do really like the positioning of MSN. He's up over towards short, but he has been smoked off. It's about to dissipate, and he's got a couple of heads to work with, surprisingly enough. He will be mollied and forced back towards the A-bomb site. And BPFive spread relatively thin. They're looking to once again cross over towards that A-bomb site, but now as the entry has come on through from color, they might have a change of heart. Trade will be secured, though, by Bodito. That's an aggressive swing taken by Coolio, and MSN. He'll unfortunately fall to the wayside as well. Seen, though, well, he strikes back. Finds one onto Fleav. Lovely little headshot courtesy of the scout. And he will be able to upgrade that to an AK, which unfortunately enough will be stripped away from his cold arms, courtesy of Aaron right there. Second one will be recovered in the hands of Bodito. He's willing to keep it intact for as long as humanly possible. BPFive, they could start hunting, or they could just scrounge up the last remainder of AKs around the map and keep those all to themselves right here. Either way, it's a hat trick of rounds to kick off Dust 2 for BPFive. Because of the fact that ONYX, they force bought out in that round number 2, things have really yet to develop to the point that we can get a clear understanding as to how ONYX really loves to play CS. But don't you worry, because that moment is going to be coming around very, very shortly, as now ONYX have more than enough cash to finally put up a buy round. Shot right over there, and even more so, the double kill from Insert is really what opened things up on the side of ONYX. I know they only really had pistols to work with, those two players over on short, but you got to imagine that those are kinds of mistakes that you can't really afford to make on buy rounds specifically, just because when you're stacked up with two people, your refract potential is at an all-time high, and if you get spray transferred down by one person, you know that the round is basically as good as done. Camion, the only person to have taken a little bit of damage. I say a little bit, but I actually mean a lot of damage. He's basically 762 round away from death. Scene flashed off. And interestingly enough, BPFive, they actually opt not to push into his open arms. They instead block him off with a wall of smoke. And they make him a little bit more uncomfortable as the rest of the roster, they've rotated off towards this A-long side. You've got MSN, who might have an angle towards this long side, but he's got an A1S. Now you do also have Scene coming on in, tucking himself in behind Car, as Scene is the first to fall. So that Car position has been rendered entirely useless, and now it's down to MSN to maybe hold down the fort. As I say that, seems as if BPFive have something else on their mind. Their intentions, not yet made entirely clear. They're waiting for FleaFive to cause a little bit more chaos, and that he will. He finds a second onto Coolio. Now the rest of the squad, they're hightailing their way through short, right into the open arms of MSN they go, but the Galil is just a little bit better in that instance. BPFive, patience was key, and it is the undoing of ONYX right here, as Aaron, the jack of all trades, comes through mid, finds one more, leaving Camion all on his lonesome. Oh, I thought he had to jump on Aaron, but Aaron is just built a little bit different right there. 4 rounds for the count on the side of BPFive. And it really is a little bit unfortunate that that first buy round truly didn't work out for ONYX right there. So they're going to be going back to basics, most likely against their will as well. At the very least, the Deagle will be able to come alive, finds one before being traded off by Coolio right there. FleaFive elsewhere on the map finds Bodito. And ideally, ONYX would have very much liked to, you know, recover one of those AKs that is stranded over by Long, but you can obviously tell for a fact that Camion, he's got that position on lock. Or excuse me, that Insert has got that on lock, yeah. And Camion with this flank is inches away from locking horns with FleaFive right there. And Emerson is going to start feeling the heat just a little bit hotter. Might have to get out of the kitchen sometime soon. Camion, does he spot out the op? Yeah, this one's a freebie. He knows it. You know it. I know it. Camion doinks FleaFive into next Friday, recovers the AWP, and now we might have a round on our hands depending on how this op performs. MSN gets another one onto Gooby. The spray is good from color, but only for the one. MSN needs to be able to hold down the line, but they will be taken off the playing field, and now it's down to Camion and Insert. 1v1, bomb on his back. Does he have time to actually shift walk all the way to B? Yeah, he's got plenty of time to make that happen. Now he's going to make a little bit of noise, alerting Camion of his position, and they will just slightly miss each other by a hair. So the code will be punched in, the bomb plant will be successful, and Insert, what you doing, my man? You want to get a little bit hungry, tries to peek for some information, but doesn't quite have it. And in comes Camion through the double doors, and Insert will gladly eat up that engagement. Very easy one to pick up for Insert right there. Call to rotate off to that B bomb site in the 1v1. Turns out it was the right one. BPFive remain untouched on D2. And it also is a little bit of a shame that Camion couldn't have won out the round, because that would have been such a great storyline for him. The saving grace for ONYX. Isolates a 1v1 with a deagle, upgrades it to an op, and then comes in clutch to get ONYX their first round. Maybe in an alternate universe, but in the universe we're currently living in, the B-bomb side has been completely compromised. We do have one flank, let alone actually two flanks coming on through, as Aaron will be shut on down. So that definitely throws a wrench into the spanners of BPFive. MSN on one particular front alongside Coolio are looking to barge their way in through that double doors, as BPFive has so many angles to worry about, but only one pair of eyes. That smoke starting to dissipate. He spots out one, but the charge comes on through. Bonito lands himself a double kill. Gooby to hold down the fort. 1v2 right now with the AK. Sprays down the third onto Bonito. And Scene realizes that we've long gone past the point of no return. Gooby accepts his fate. Takes the round for BPFive, and Scene keeps the op intact. It was a good attempt for a retake on the side of ONYX, but they unfortunately wasted just a little bit too much time in actually getting the ball rolling. And that cost them. That cost them quite dearly. Even though the scoreline says one thing, now that we finally have some rifles to work with on the side of ONYX, they are starting to put up quite the fight as well, but they're just so desperately close to actually getting the results that they want. Sooner rather than later, it's gonna happen. This is such an aggressive angle that Scene is taking up. I like the idea. I like the genius of it, but sadly for him, we have the benefit of those x-rays, those silhouettes. Nobody's there to meet him for the time being. BPFive once again opting to go for a long XX. Scene has already been rotated off to Goose, so he can definitely maintain Overwatch, but his line of sight's been blocked off by that smoke. And this is something that we've seen BPFive really love to do. They like to assert their dominance, claim a little bit of territory over towards that long side, and then they just stick one player inside a pit. Let them either chime in later as the execution is coming on through, or let them be the first point of contact to find a frag. They would usually rotate off towards short and kind of just bum rush the A-bomb site from there. It seems as if now, yeah, okay, the entire squad is already rotating on back. We do also have BPFive deep inside of enemy territory by Xbox with that AWP, looking for any and all valuable information right here. But BPFive winding down the clock a little bit too close for my own comfort. I've actually called in for the rotation to go directly towards B, and ONYX seemed to actually be falling for it. BPFive pixels away, takes so much damage, left on 6 HP, and now the XX coming on through. Aaron kicks us off. Camion holds down the fort before Gooby trades it back. 3v4 now as Aaron through the mid doors will strike, finds Coolio. Bomb plant confirmed. MSN and Scene didn't even know what hit them. All of ONYX seemed to have literally erupted in confusion right there. And Scene can't keep the op intact for a secondary round once more. He'll fall. BPFive played it so reserved, so patient. And I got genuinely confused because I thought that there would have been an opening for them to go over towards short, but I was horribly mistaken. When there were 35 seconds left on the clock, somebody made the call, "Alright lads, let's just go all the way to B. They will never expect this." And ONYX, truth be told, didn't expect it. BPFive are playing the mental game, and ONYX seemed to be falling for it. Oof. BPFive waited just 1 or 2 extra seconds and then pulled the trigger. That would have been a very nasty little kill through smoke. MSN, though, finds first blood as inserts. Will be able to retort with one of his own. BPFive not willing to bite down on this B-bomb site just yet. Slight change of heart. And I do think Coolio, a little bit too big for his britches right there, about to be caught off, but he manages to scamper away. Oof. Timing not ideal for BPFive right there. And they will continue to get a move on, maybe even towards this A-bomb site. It would be the right call. But they don't have the benefit of knowing that just yet. ONYX already starting to rotate off. Coolio falls. Fliav. Uh-oh, this is getting a little bit too difficult for him to breathe. He lights up one. Can't whip out the second shot right there. And instead, it's going to turn into a bloody brawl right here in the middle of the map. ONYX left with 2 survivors. They're going to eat a boatload of damage from that nade, courtesy of inserts. And now it's all down to Camion, who finds himself stranded alone on the B-bomb site. Walks right into the open arms of Gooby. And BPFive with their T side have already hit 8. They've basically won out the half thus far. It's been a flawless map of CS coming out from them. ONYX struggling to let their voices be heard. Hopefully this is the point where it's going to change. Double op set up as Fliav is full flash, misses out on the shot in BPFive with a little bit more spring in their step right here. Not applying any pressure on the brakes whatsoever. No, full acceleration from them. A bomb site has already collapsed. ONYX have left it understaffed. MSN finds one with an aid, which at the very least puts us back into an even playing field, but is not all sunshine and roses for them just yet. They have to somehow get this retake up in motion, but I don't even know if they're going to be willing to go for it. Insert blocking them off with a wall of smoke. Camion's got a flash, so they can maybe barge their way in through that wall of smoke right there. There's the flash. Insert was ready for it. He finds 2. And suddenly all the hopes and dreams of ONYX have been shut down. Thrown out of the window. And Coolio will have to exchange that A1S for the AK. Keep it intact. But either way, no results on the side of ONYX. BPFive simply ramped up the aggression a little bit too much. ONYX couldn't take the heat they got out of the kitchen. And even though by the time that we had actually gotten the bomb plant down, it may have been a 3v5 or a 3v3 situation, excuse me, but the players that were supposed to be the linchpins of the defense on ONYX, they just fell a little bit too easy. The player that was over by, well, the top is short, close by baskets, and the other that was over by car, they really only took one to the grave alongside themselves. It felt a little bit strange, a little bit bizarre for ONYX. Either way, though, as round number 10 is starting to roll around, BPFive are looking to hit double digits themselves right here. 10 flawless rounds on the T side of Dust 2. That would be quite something. That would be quite something in this Hungarian duel. They're inching their way ever so closer towards A. And Coolio's going to be in for a rude awakening, whichever way you slice and dice it. Same thing goes for MSN right here. Counter flash tossed on out, goes for the wide swing, and Fliav was more than ready for it. BPFive are willing to give this round a little bit more gas right now. Coolio simply about to be cyberbullied. Finds one, though narrowly got away with the second as well. As Bodito comes in through the smoke. Same thing goes for inserts. And there's a gap through that smoke. Fliav can exploit it, but misses out on the shot. Bomb plant will be confirmed now. 2v2. Can they hold on? Camion finds inserts, and now it's down to Fliav. Gets the lovely pop shot onto Camion, and now it's just Bodito on the opposite side of the smoke. Oh, he's taking so much damage. One more shot. All Bodito needs to do is land one wild spray, and he will shut down Fliav. And he's got the jump on him. Fliav wasn't expecting it whatsoever. Plenty of time on the defuse. And the op can also be recovered. BPFive won't be allowed to hit double digits just yet. ONYX had something to say about it. They finally get their first CT round. Their first round, most importantly, on Dust 2. That was such a lovely shot right there from FiveV, that first one. And even more so, Coolio, I gotta say that the fact that he was, well, full flashed over towards the top of short and he was still able to drop bomb carrier, pretty good stuff. All in all, seemed very aggressive. Not something that BPFive would have expected in a million years right there. FiveV claps back though, and gives Scene the taste of his own medicine. That's going to level things up back into a 4v4. Man, Bodito was really dancing with the devil right there. Oh, and just when you thought BPFive would have taken a step back just to grab themselves a breather, Gooby was ready for it. Unnecessary aggression exhibited over towards A-Long, and that might as well just cost ONYX the entire round. The bomb plant will be secured. Bodito and Camion can save one of the two ops that they had initially perched up in this round, but still, man, playing for the head glitch, Gooby. It's a little bit of a rat play, but you know, but you do you. You can definitely make it work, and it certainly has. BPFive, they will hit double digits in just a matter of seconds right now. Not exactly sure where that damage came from, Camion. He's too far away to make any kind of contact, but either way, this T side has been looking very scary from BPFive. And this particular round just really goes to show exactly how deep their strategy runs. And surprise, it's actually not that deep. It's just a little bit shallow. They love to prioritize these A executes. And as I explained just a couple of rounds earlier, they keep one guy inside a pit, have them either wait for some aggression or exhibit a little bit of aggression themselves, find an opening pick, maybe even two if they're lucky, in the same way that Gooby did in that last round, and then the rest of the squad just joins in on the fun through short. It's something that BPFive have basically been doing for about 70% of these rounds, and it's worked out quite eloquently. This time, what they don't expect is that underpass aggression from Coolio. He finds two, Seemed chimes in with one of his own. Now, while the B bomb site has been compromised, yes, that's about to change. Coolio has the opportunity to make BPFive's lives a living hell, but not yet. Aaron finds MSN instead over by double doors. Do BPFive have this on lock? Not exactly, not yet. Inserts has his attention spread very thin between two different points. Boost, unable to gather any kind of information. Smoke tossed on through, no flashes to boot. There's the first one though. Insert trades off Coolio, narrowly manages to get the second, finds Coolio, but oh, if only he had a little bit more to work with, he could have also found Seemed. And that's heartbreaking for Seemed as well, on the cusp of victory. Had to recover the kid before he could even think about sticking the defuse, but he realized that that bomb was way past the point of no return. And sadly enough for ONYX, despite their best efforts, they'll have to forfeit that round once again. That came so close. What a find from Seemed right there. And Inserts holding down the fort. Was that a team kill that I just saw from FiveV onto Aaron right there? A little bit bizarre. At the very least, FiveV will be able to rectify his mistake and find an opponent instead of a teammate. And on the brighter side, FiveV is also now on for the 6-man ace. Some more team damage coming on out, but either way, Insert will be able to keep that AK in check and team its recoil just a little bit further. Coolio, though, looking to make some magic happen, finds one. Can't find the second onto Gooby, though. And BPFive are looking for, well, not looking for, they found that 12th round, but they're looking for so much more. Oof. That was quite the shot right there. That's a lot of flashes coming out over towards A long. Coolio falls. And Scene can't make the op connect, surprisingly enough. He'll be forced off of that position. There's no way he can recontest that. It's going to be down to Bodito to see if he can maybe get away with a rat pick or two. Inserts may already be wary to his position. They're about to lock horns, and it's Bodito who rises atop. BPFive redirecting their attention over towards mid, realizing that they are about to be pincered. They need to get out of hot water, but Fleav falls. Luckily enough for BPFive, that's not the bomb, and they can still work their way into this B bomb site. MSN to try to hold it down with nothing but a scout to his name, and it's Camion to join in on the fun. Gooby finds one, but they haven't checked MSN just yet. Gooby so close. It's Aaron to clean it up though. Availability for a bomb plant is there, and it will be snagged back up. 2v2 ensues. AKs versus an A1S and an op. And it's a tough weapon to refrag that op. Nade deals some minor damage, and ONYX once again are letting that clock drain down a little bit too much. It's what cost them a successful defuse in the last round. But this time, it's their gunplay that's going to cost them the round. They both lose out their individual 1v1s. And BPFive, they've hit 13 as we move into the last round of Dust 2. The availability for a 14-to-1 split is very real, and it is very scary. ONYX have very much struggled to keep BPFive on a leash. Things can get so much worse from here on out. Early aggression as Aaron tries to spray some CTs down. Can't exactly connect any shots, but that's fine. I also really like this from Camion, but Gooby's got the right idea. Whether or not he knew ONYX was going to go for that kind of aggression, it simply worked on out. Aaron boosted into Ninja, finds one onto Scene as well, who got a bit too overly ambitious. ONYX, they're feeding themselves into the meat grinder that Budapest have set up. Couple of mice super hungry for cheese fall into their own death traps. MSN closet back by one, but just the one. Bodito gets turned on so heavily. And BPFive so ruthless on this T side. Find 14 rounds versus just the one that ONYX were able to put up on the CT side. It is looking rough. It is a bit of a ride on the struggle bus for ONYX right here. And I did say that they were one of the newest formed rosters, only having been together for about 3 weeks. Yeah, we didn't know exactly what to expect from them, but I wasn't really expecting the bar to be this low on the side of ONYX. Either way, we're going to cut to a short little break, but when we return, the conclusion of Dust 2, and then soon to follow after that, map number 2 of Nuke. Stay tuned, we'll be back in just a few minutes. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Current score line 14-1 on Dust 2 for BPFive. They have been looking like an absolute unit. Like, I wanna make this sound just a little bit more poetic. I wanna say like a non-stop, unstoppable killing machine that will literally rip and tear their way through any of their opponents. And unfortunately enough, Yeah. BPFive, they're impersonating the Doomslayer, and then ONYX are just like a lowly little baby Kako demon. It's a bit sucky for them, unfortunately enough. Still, though, I want to remain optimistic. I want to remain a little bit of an ONYX believer and say that they could come back, but realistically speaking, on Dust 2, I think that that opportunity has simply been chucked out the window. Nothing they can do about it, and they will likely have to wait for Nuke to roll around before they can put up some kind of fight. Either way, though, all Budapest 5 really need to close off this round is one pistol and then one successful force buy, and then bada bing, bada boom, you find yourself in Cedar Creek, map number 2. So we're going to be hopping into game just momentarily, but before we do, I would once again like to remind everybody that is tuning in to go ahead and check out our sponsors and partners. CoinMotion, Finland's leading platform for cryptocurrency trading, as well as Plasma, one of the best places where you can actually get yourself some gamer supplements. It is 100% lactose-free, gluten-free, as well as made from vegan ingredients, so it should agree with your stomach, and it likely will because it is yum yum yum. Either way, though, second map or second half of Nuke is going to be starting off momentarily, and it's still a little bit doubtful for ONYX. It's going to be tough for them to recover completely. Not really much else that I can say for the time being, sadly enough for them. I do have to say that they have had a couple of moments of individual brilliance, although cohesively their CT side it's simply looked very, very weak thus far. There's a lot that has gone wrong with the side of ONYX, and for very good reason. It seemed disjointed. It seemed what other synonyms? You know what, I don't even want to go and start looking for synonyms. You pull out your own thesaurus and you find another word that means disjointed. It just looked horribly uncohesive on the side of ONYX. But now their T side, though, could be a little bit of a different story. Some contact already being found. And even though that P2000 has fallen out of favor, you still want to show it off for the Fire Elemental. Let's be fair, BPFive. It's a good-looking skin. Still a very slow approach on the side of ONYX. Caller with his back turned. If this aggression comes out now, they could catch one off guard, but BPFive finds MSN. CT has been smoked off, a flashbang to boot. And BPFive is looking to hold down the fort. He gets another as Insert chimes in with one of his own, holding it back from the bomb site. Gets a secondary frag. Aaron shuts down Coolio. And BPFive, immediately after that pistol round, already sit on map point. Oof, crisp headshots right there. Pixels away, but either way, Inserts was there to clean house. Still, though, yeah, there's virtually nothing that ONYX can do with these Deagles versus the A1Ss, the FAMAS, as well as the MP9 that BPFive have equipped themselves with. At the very least, they will reclaim all of that lost territory over towards, A long. And now, actually taking control of short, but BPFive is already in the prime position to respond, interestingly enough. And this has all fallen to the wayside for ONYX. 2v4, MSN and Seend. What can you guys do? Probably not a whole lot, but I'm very keen to be proven wrong in these kinds of situations. A1S that has been recovered falls to the enemy. Seend finds Insert right there and renders it back into a 2v3. So, ONYX not willing to go down without a fight, and they're willing to make BPFive work for their victory. Seend gets another, make it a double, and the third as well. ONYX somehow managed to keep themselves alive by a thread. That was quite the round from ONYX. I really did not expect it at all in the slightest. I thought that would have been the 16th route right there for Budapest, and we would have swiftly been on our way towards Cedar Creek over by Nuke. But I guess we'll have to drag on Dust 2 for just a little while longer as this short little pause comes on through. BPFive. It's now their turn to play around with Deagles and armor. They're looking to maybe replicate the exact same successes ONYX did in that very last round, but I kind of doubt that it's going to happen. Still, though, doesn't mean it's out of the realm of possibility for the CTs. And ONYX looking to divide and conquer. Early aggression over towards Underpass is going to net MSN and Cammy on a kill each. Inserts. Finds the trade, however, and we are still left in a 4v3 scenario. BPFive. Kind of starstruck right here. They're looking for freebies. You can see how hungry they are. They're so deep into enemy territory, specifically Aaron right there, but he'll be tapped down to a measly 0 HP, courtesy of Coolio's Galil. And now ONYX, full control of A long, and by proxy also that A-bomb side. BPFive, though, hello. Somehow recovered a MAC-10 and was able to shoot and gun down MSN. And it's not the biggest of upgrades either to a Galil, but still, that's something for BPFive to work with, and Gooby is really looking to strip Sceneed away of this AWP. Either way, though, ONYX are likely going to be picking up the third round over here as the final two frags come on through. And still, they won't be pushed off the cliff of Dust 2 just yet. They'll continue to string themselves along for the ride for just a little bit longer. And I can only start to imagine how disappointed BPFive must have been. Like, I put in so much work to mount all of that aggression, and all I get is a lowly Galil for it instead of the MAC-10. I would have been pissed off as well. Still, though, this might actually piss ONYX off just a little bit, as somehow these USPs are putting in work. MSN, though, shuts down Aaron, and we're back into a 2v3 scenario. Heavy casualties throughout the server. Even though Budapest find themselves with 2 men, losing out on 2 rifles, if you're in the boots of ONYX, is even worse. Oh, look at the timing right here for BPFive. Galil recovered. Because of the fact that he opted to pick up that gun, those 2 bodies, they've slipped onto the A-bomb site. And MSN is soon to follow as well. But he's actually going to go through long instead. Color actually finds the op instead, so these rifles, they can be used to either just prematurely shut down ONYX's chances on Dust 2, or BPFive can give them a little bit of false hope even further. At the very least, I think BPFive is willing to, you know, play his hand, see what cards ONYX are holding on to, and he has dropped the ball heavily on that one, but that's fine. He just needed to serve as a little bit of a distraction so Color can get away safely with the AWP, and now ONYX have realized, ay, caramba, there's an op in the enemy hands. They walk away with a 4th, but the question is, how much impact is this op gonna have? Everyone else on the side of BPFive, they can fully reinvest into any kind of weaponry, whatever the hell they want. And I would be surprised if we continue Dust 2 for just a little bit longer after this one. I would be very thoroughly surprised. BPFive, very antsy for an open over towards suicide. And MSN, maybe looking to jump the gun onto BPFive in retort. The timing would have to be very good and very perfect on this one, but I think he's just going to hold his ground. Actually, they've boosted to get an angle over towards short, but that's been smoked off. Starts to dissipate, though, and you do have one player walking into that LOS, but I don't think they've spotted out Aaron over there. At the very least, ONYX Have a lot of map control to work with in this instance. Options aplenty. It might just be a push through mid. But when you've got Fleaf there, it's going to be so difficult to actually dislodge him. That's the only issue that I see with this. And he finds one onto MSN. ONYX are not going to continue to toss all of their eggs into this one single basket because it just isn't proving to work out. Fleaf tacks Bodito down to a measly 3 HP. He is softened up. Kohler comes in for the swing, gets a second as Fleaf chimes in with one of his own, and it doesn't matter whatsoever. Gooby rewarded with the final frag on to Coolio right there. Confirms the victory on Dust 2 for BPFive, and that is going to round it off. They go 1-0 up. And now we'll have to turn towards Nuke as we pay a visit to Cedar Creek and see exactly if ONYX can maybe string it all the way back. Either way, though, Nuke is going to be live with you guys in just a few minutes after this short break. We'll be back super shortly.
They say you don't gotta go home, but you can't stay here. And no, I don't wanna be alone in the world out there. They say you don't gotta go home, but you can't stay here. And no, I don't wanna be alone in the world out there.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the HCG Masters Season 1, made possible by our partners and sponsors, Plasma and Coin Motion. In case if you guys are just tuning in, here's the quick TLDR of what has actually just transpired in the Hungarian derby between ONYX and BPFive. ONYX, they kind of got slammed just a little bit too much. It got very, very rough for them on our opening map of Dust 2, which of course was BPFive's opening map pick. But now we're going to be shifting gears over to what could potentially be the very last map that we have in store between these two squads. Nuke, ladies and gentlemen, my all-time favorite map within the game, actually, so I'm certainly going to be having a hoot and a half with this one, seeing exactly what kind of crazy funnies these guys can pull off. Either way, for the time being, we have ONYX full stacked outside, and Aaron, little does he know that he's impersonating the role of Anakin with the low ground, and he's actually been able to catch two players off guard, just narrowly the second onto Coolio as well, looking to confirm the kill as the rest of ONYX, they've actually redirected their attention back towards Aaron to try to deal with him. That's cost them just a little bit too much. Fleav finds one before inserts will be outright dealt with over by Main, and in comes Gooby from vending machines to strike and shut down MSN. And this is rough right now for ONYX. The bomb slightly out of arm's reach. And we've got Fleav, who's basically watching it like a hawk, spots out so much information and taps Scened right in his melon. Coolio, the last man alive, in a 1v3 with a USP, doesn't even get the chance to pull the trigger. Fleav will pop his dome, and BPFive, they take themselves yet another pistol round in this best of 3 series. So though I'm a little bit upset about the fact that we didn't really get to see the entirety of this strat philosophy on the side of ONYX really come to fruition, I'm curious as to how the strategy would have actually looked like as it would have, you know, been pulled off properly. They kind of just got stopped dead in their tracks by Aaron, who really just existed at the bottom of Marshmallow. And here's Fleav looking to cause so much damage, but only to receive so much in return. Bodito finds him, and Aaron with the FAMAS right now, looking to rectify that mistake. He finds one before being shut down. Color does the exact same thing, but this time walks away with the triple kill instead. And MSN, all on his lonesome, spotted through the smoke as it was phasing. Kubi will happily gobble that one up. BPFive reaping the rewards of 2 rounds won in a row, but their armory isn't looking too flashy. That's the only issue that I can see here for the time being. Aaron, as well as, well, Aaron's going to likely have to buy up a FAMAS in that instance. That was a lovely, well, a lovely triple kill from Color right there to immediately set ONYX back into their rightful place. Still though, ONYX, now with AKs to their names, they're looking to put up a much better fight. And thus far we have seen ONYX only realistically go for outside pushes and takes, and they read into the secret presence so perfectly. Fleav just got demolished right there, and Coolio finds Aaron, who was over towards heaven. And my, oh my. The shots that these Kalashnikovs are landing are a little bit insane, not gonna lie, guys. And now they're looking to go and barge their way in through Squeaky. Gooby, already perched up over by rafters behind the silo chassis, is looking to exist and be a little bit of a nuisance. He finds one, narrowly manages to get the second, but the B bomb site has fallen entirely. Insert with the MP9 cloak's proximity shuts down the bomb plant. That'll have to be recovered. And Kohler wrapping his way in through back to command center. Doesn't strike right on the money. Bodito finds him instead. Now inserts. Can't upgrade that MP9 if he walks away. No, narrowly sprayed down through the double doors, and ONYX, they get themselves the first round. And more so, we also do get a clear understanding as to what ONYX were trying to pull off in the first 3 rounds of play thus far. They just love outside pushes, apparently. And that time they were able to make it work to utter perfection. And that was such a nasty shot. Really amazing game sense right there over towards the player that was on Heaven. Absolutely perfect. Coming out from Coolio, actually. But now, we're going to shift gears just a little bit. BPFive, not working with the best of weaponry. A missed shot from Fliav might be costly, and Bodito debating as to whether or not he wants to engage with the player that is close over towards Hell. At the very least, he has drawn first blood onto Kolor. And now ONYX contemplating which option to pursue, as they have plenty of them to work with right here. MSN falls at the hands of an Insert. That's a very awkward gunfight, but either way, not one that you should be losing if you're in the shoes of a T. And now you've lost your man in lobby, so where do you go from here if you're ONYX? Likely you go downstairs, see where you get a pick. BPFive are spread relatively thin with 2 people in the basement and 2 people on the ground floor. You find one, that's where you commit. And they found out Aaron, so now they can fully commit to this A bomb site exec. And you can see there's literally nobody in close proximity to respond. No, I think BPFive have got it all wrong. They've got it backwards. They'll have to head back up through ramp, maybe over towards lobby and see what work can be done, but it's not gonna happen. It's not looking pretty for them in any way, shape, or form right now. And at this certain stage, you've got yourself an A1S and an AK to your name. Keep those intact. Hell, I'd even argue, don't let Inserts die either, because he's got a kit, a scout, as well as armor to work with, and a molly. That's $3,500 worth of equipment and weaponry. It's a massive investment. So they're going to head back over towards T-Spawn, keep everything intact. ONYX, they're not going to pursue them just yet. Not at all, actually. And ONYX tie up the score line 2-all. And despite the fact that this is BPFive's pick, we are seeing a little bit more grit, a little bit more ferocity on the side of ONYX in these opening 4 rounds. Something that was desperately missing earlier on Dust 2. We could keep things a little bit more competitive in this instance. And given the buy that BPFive have to work with, I wouldn't be surprised if ONYX starts to run away with a couple of rounds. But when you've got Kohler landing those shots, it's going to be rough. He will be traded back, though, however, by Coolio and Canyon. On top of main. Might have an angle to work with. They're scared about the fact that there might be a secret push coming in like last round. They read into it perfectly last time around, and Fliav was quite literally caught lacking. But either way, they have deemed outside unfit. Not an avenue that they want to pursue for the time being, so back into lobby they go. Keeping things very slowly paced. A ramp execution, an A execution maybe? There are a multitude of options for ONYX to explore right now, but it seems as if they've got their attention set over towards that ramp side. Maybe, or at least they want to make BPFive think that they do. Clock winds back down to 30 seconds. ONYX need to get a move on right here. It seems as if an A play is going to be it. We already do have one player wrapping in directly through lobby, so this could go horribly wrong. Fliav finds a nice 2-piece Gubian with a third, and Coolio to do it all on his own. Has the bomb on his back and can secure a plant right here, but as to whether or not he will win out the round, that's yet to be determined. Let's see how big he can clutch up this time. One player inside a decon that needs to worry about, then one reveals themselves over towards ramp. This is awkward. This is uncomfy. This is a little bit too hot, and with 18 HP to his name, he has to make every shot count. Finds the head of Aaron, but can't find Inserts as the smoke fades through. BPFive come back swinging with a round of their own. And at that certain stage, I really do have to condemn ONYX a little bit because they didn't really manage their time well in any way, shape, or form. I mean, they were far too indecisive for my taste. You saw that they tossed out a little bit of util over towards ramp much earlier into the round to see if they could, I don't know, turn it into a viable opening, a viable opportunity for play. They immediately changed their minds, and they were kind of just stood around loitering inside of lobby. Not really a position you want to find yourself in, and then, crap. We got 30 seconds left to play with. We got to make something happen, and you just walk right into the meat grinder. Either way, they're looking to put that last round in the rearview mirror and do something proper right here in the 6th round. They've already drawn first blood onto the Opera of Fliav right here. Coolio to line up a smoke as well. Curious where this one's going to land, as Aaron will take a boatload of damage from that op shot through the surface as well. Can't flick onto his head. Seemed as inches away from hitting that one. But still, though, now that ONYX have gotten themselves that opening pick, they're not exactly the kind of team that will just ramp up the aggression and take the fight to BPFive after they've drawn first blood. They really like to play for time. They really like to keep things at a snail's pace. Ensure that they don't put a foot wrong. That they don't make a wrong step. Back down secret they go. And there's 3 players already downstairs in and around a vent. This can turn out horribly for ONYX. This could go sideways very quickly. And it does. It's an utter collapse. Nothing but a sea of blue paints the kill feed. ONYX didn't even know what hit them. BPFive perfectly set up the best death trap imaginable. And MSN looking to keep his life in tow as the clock expires once more. Where do ONYX go from here? This was such a great opening from Seend right here. But then the decision, the IGL call to push down into secret, yeah, it was a viable option. And there's no way that they could have known that there were 3 players down there, right? Nobody in their right mind would have known that. But it wasn't until that last moment where the first couple of rounds started whizzing past that they then realized it was a trap all along, and BPFive had them dead to rights. And now 1 AK surrounded by Tech 9s is all that ONYX have to work with. Flashes to boot, but instead they redirect their attention over towards ramp, which, hey, presto, has literally just been vacated at the right moment. So, access towards that B bomb site, it is completely free. Gooby, though, will try to hold down the fort for as long as possible, but ONYX instead, they've yet to plant the bomb down. They will walk right into Color, and those Tech 9s, they will claim him. ONYX now get themselves onto the bomb site. They can plant it, sure. And we sit in a post-plant situation now with Bodito finding one more. Goes in for a second insert. Finds him instead. 3v4 is Aaron. Inches away from locking horns. MSN gets another before it being traded out once again. Camion falls. And the A1S, it stumbles. Seemed will shut him down. Fliav, the mainstay Opera on the side of BPFive, realizes that this is few and far between a winnable round anymore for BPFive. He will happily take that exit frag, but he will sadly have to forfeit the round to ONYX. And the T side of ONYX, they are able to keep BPFive in check just for a little bit longer, putting themselves, once again, 1 round away from tying things up. So now things are going to start getting a little bit interesting again. At the very least, right here on Nuke, we don't really have to be stuck in the trend of going back between rifle rounds and pistol rounds and save rounds only the entire time. It's just been non-stop competitive action this entire time right here on Nuke. Gooby having to fall so far behind that FAMAS really doesn't put in the work needed. Color deals out so much damage. Look at how lit the players on the side of ONYX are. A single shot or even a well-placed nade will send them right into next Friday. As the bomb goes down, the Galil from Coolio is looking for victims. All of ONYX are so heavily stacked over by Control Room, as well as over by Double Doors. They've isolated themselves in one of the weirdest spots possible. But the bomb has been planted for open. Who's going to bite first? Inserts gets one with the A4, and MSN is looking for the trade. Can't secure it, though. Aaron comes in swinging, busting down the door. Classic FBI style, and somehow manages to walk away with 2 frags right there. BPFive, they're back in it on the CT side. And I gotta say, if it wasn't for those 2 initial entries that BPFive put on the playing field over towards outside, that round could have very well ended in like a 5v5 post-plant scenario down below. It could have been a completely different story, but sadly one that we'll never be able to experience. Camion somehow finds himself holding on to an op and narrowly manages to find another frag. Oh, that's heartbreaking for Camion right there. Aaron shuts him down and inserts spray scene through the smoke. Bonito with the Glock can be a little bit of a pea shooter at times, and you can't really expect much out of the 9mm, but still though, bit of a throwaway round for ONYX. Get it out of the way, get the cash, and then come back stronger. That was also a really unfortunate entry for ONYX because the BPFive somehow managed to get the bomb dropped in between the scopes. A little bit of miscommunication maybe on the side of ONYX, but I think they realized full well that, as I said, that was a bit of a throwaway round on their side and they weren't really giving it their all. Solo BPFive managing to outright double ONYX's scoreline right here, 6-3, as we creep forward into round number 10. ONYX have a full buy to work with, 2 Galils. Kind of triggering my OCD because they ruined the aesthetic of seeing 5 AKs on the HUD. But that's just me. Inserts. Good for one, but Coolio was quick to trade it back. That could have turned out to be so much worse, and now I think BPFive might be in for a world of hurt. They do find Gooby down below as well. And now they have proper access to the B bomb side. Only question is, where's the bomb? It's still back up above inside a lobby. Bonito finds one more onto Aaron. And now, I think ONYX are likely going to go for this plant over towards A instead. Really playing the mind games right here with BPFive instead. And Fliav over by ramp. Looking to keep the op intact for as long as possible, but he's sprayed down by Camion. All down to Color, who now starts to realize that the bomb is on the top side, not down below inside of B. Hello? How do you manage to pull off that turn on? Well, Coolio absolutely got dumpstered. Okay, what a shot. What a shot right there by Color, but it was all for naught. 10 rounds in, and we sit at a 6-4 score line. I did really love to actually start to enjoy the aggression that BPFive was starting to exhibit a little bit more. Specifically that lobby aggression. It really reminds me of the kind of plays that we saw Jax from G2 pull off during the major, and something that he still does to this day whenever G2 opt to visit Nuke. It's very reminiscent of that kind of strategy, but Jax makes it seem a little bit better just by getting multi-kills. Unfortunately enough, BPFive only found the one that time. Aaron sprays down 2 through the smoke. The rush through Squeaky has been brought to a grinding halt. Oh no. This has all gone terribly south for ONYX, and now they're forced to improvise. At the very least, they have vented. And Bodito elsewhere, I don't know how he wound up here, but he'll happily gobble up that free frag onto Aaron. He'll get another one. Behind enemy lines, a double agents. He gets inserts, and now he might want a little bit more as BPL. They have to redirect their attention to deal with him. He's just found a third. He's putting up all the numbers right here for ONYX. And he's not even part of the core strategy. He is just existing, being a nuisance. At the very least, he has now cleared out the entirety of the A-bomb site. And BPFive are left in awe. Bomb goes down. BPFive, yeah, that quickscope is never going to happen as long as you're on the ladder. Gooby and along the rest of the lads over on BPFive will have to forfeit this round. There's no other way to slice and dice it. Bodito coming in strong, coming in clutch. 5 kills to his name in that round. The ace to boot. And my oh my, what an ace it was indeed. So much solo play on his side. Not really playing with the rest of the squad whatsoever. Just kind of out and about existing. And somehow, everybody walks into his LOS. And everybody dies. Hoo-wee. Really keeping the ONYX dream alive right here. He's certainly got a spring in his step. He finds the opener onto BPFive once more. And he is certainly hungry for some more of those tasty, tasty little CTs. I don't want to say that BPFive are on the first train out to Panic Town, but it certainly starts to feel like it. They're on the CT side after all. This is the more favorite side, and after this round is concluded, well, it's going to be even Steven 6-6. Theoretically speaking, yeah, BPFive, they can definitely get themselves a 9-6 split, but even then, it's not comfortable. Oh, insert! There's no way! He should have gotten himself the double kill. It leaves Coolio on 9 HP. Oh, goodness gracious. And you saw he was greedy. He wanted to go for the knife, get the extra little bit of cash and the memes, but it simply wasn't meant to be. And now with the code punched in and the bomb having gone down a few seconds ago, yeah, you can basically write this one off as ONYX's 6th round right here. Already outdoing their own score line that they were able to put up on Dust 2. And guess what? It didn't take 2 halves to actually get it done. This is a completely different side of ONYX that we are seeing. They have turned over a new leaf. They are showing us their true colors. And I'm all here for it. And ONYX are swimming in money as well. They can effectively buy for the next 2 rounds with the cash that they have available. And there's only 3 more left to go in this first half. If BPFive lose out on this next round, then their eco is certainly going to be in the bin. They will be able to buy into round number 15. But even then, I wouldn't hold my breath to see that much success. Early aggression with the AWP. He remains tagged but not fragged. Scene will finally capitalize though onto Aaron before being blown sky high into oblivion right there. The AWP hasn't been recovered yet though. It's still kind of stuck stranded out over by Squeaky. And now ONYX. Not exactly toying with their food, but they have taken a much more reserved stance. Tossing out Protocol Util over towards outside, cutting off LOS. Boost will be read into by Flea, but he can't actually get the tag, surprisingly enough. And with 50 seconds left to go, ONYX, they actually haven't crossed. You can actually see the Kohler. He's confirmed that nobody on the side of ONYX has crossed over towards outside. But instead, they're going to be moving in towards ramp. They've already found out on Gooby. FleaV can't make it happen. Camion will shut him down. 4v2 now ensues. And ONYX, they don't even know. They don't even need to go for this B-side exit. You can see that they're smarter than that. They're going to go back over towards A now that they have confirmed that, well, Kohler and Inserts are down below, as Insert will be blown away by that Kalashnikov. This has gone horribly wrong for BPFive. This is their map pick. And ONYX are putting up a stern fight, stern resistance. And really giving us a proper map to within this Hungarian derby. And easily the best thing about ONYX's T-half that we have seen thus far, and the main reason why it speaks so much to their success overall, is they just like pulling off loads and loads of bait and switches. How many times in these last 3 rounds they have won out thus far? Because keep in mind, they are... Actually, no, wait. They're on a 4-round winning streak thus far. Each one of these 4 rounds that they have won, they're doing it because they are playing the map. They are setting up fakes. They're claiming free real estate, dropping it, and then moving elsewhere to more empty territory. They are quite literally forcing BPFive to simultaneously run laps around the map whilst they are being stuck on a hamster wheel. And BPFive are struggling heavily, but now they're willing to take matters into their own hands. Kohler finds one. Coolio is dead. And so is Seend. That outside aggression, it works out beautifully for BPFive. FleaV, Deagle to boot, finds an extra frag onto MSN. Camion to try to hold on for dear life in a botched round on the side of ONYX. Finds 2 for his troubles, but it is very much short-lived. And you can see BPFive, they're tired of the BM. Oh, man. 7-7 as we move into the last round of this first half, and it can literally be anybody's game. Even if Budapest get themselves an 8th round here, I don't dare say that they've won the half, because it wouldn't have been done comfortably. It is a CC-sided map. You're expected to get 9, hell, maybe even 10 rounds here, and ONYX have done 7. And ONYX can still get themselves a last one here as well, make it 8. Really force Budapest to work for this second map in the second half as well. FleaV, one of the 2 prongs of this double off setup, has already fallen. Inserts to go down as well. MSN, but Gooby, he's holding down the fort, or so I thought to his dying breath. Aaron, how does he miss that? Seend finds him, and Kohler will be able to render it back down to a 1v1, but he actually has control of the bomb. A small oversight on the side of ONYX that they will now have to salvage. Seend with the AK swapped on out. Pushing through the smoke, the no-scope lands! But it actually legs Seend instead, leaving him on 8 HP. Goodness gracious, that came down to the wire between these 2 squads. And that is going to leave ONYX winning out the half with an 8-7 score line. And we will see how Nuke continues to unfold in the second half after the short ad break. So 8-7 is the scoreline on Nuke right now. ONYX putting up quite the T half to kick off map number 2, and they are certainly basically rectifying all of the mistakes that they exhibited earlier on Dust 2. Keep in mind, BPFive are still one map up after taking Dust 2 16-4, if I'm not mistaken, which was quite the scoreline indeed. But Nuke, different story. Entirely different story. The first half of Dust 2 it ended off 14-1 in favor of BPFive, and now ONYX, seemingly out of nowhere, they've decided to show up on the server, and they are certainly making BPFive work for this victory within the HCG Masters Season 1. Now, that's not all just yet. This performance that ONYX have actually put up is so convincing. It is so strong to the point that I'm contemplating and seriously thinking that Inferno might actually be a possibility within this best of 3 series. All to play for and all to come. It hinges on this initial round. ONYX, will they be able to pick up their first pistol round in the best of 3? Could very well turn out to be the case. CT-sided map, and with 8 rounds to their name moving on to the CT side, they're in the prime position to experience some very much needed success. And BPFive taking a stern lot of outside. And Seend will strike. He finds the head of Cole, or actually that draws first blood for the CTs. Insert, though, will clap back. And Bodito will be able to shut down Fliev as well. Elsewhere on the map, BPFive have actually wrapped in through hell back towards this ramp site, but only to meet MSN and the rest of the crew. Oh no, it's gone horribly wrong for BPFive, and it's going to leave Aaron all on his lonesome with the bomb worlds apart from him. It is stuck under the control of 3 cities. That's a really great looking pre-fire over there. He will be able to shut down Bodito at the very least, but now he's got 2 more players to deal with, and I don't know if he certainly has it in him. In just the moment he's about to expose himself, and the moment he does that, he will be staring right down the barrel of multiple USPs, and it doesn't turn out to be the case. He will be shut down, and that is ONYX finding their 9th round, denying BPFive the opportunity to tie up the score line, putting themselves effectively 1 away from hitting double digits. Because of the fact that BPFive didn't even come close to getting that bomb plant down, they have absolutely 0 money to work with. They will be forced to save this round. ONYX, they can basically do whatever they want to their heart's content at this stage. You saw MP9's, FAMAS's, even an A1S already being bought on out. They are looking to run away with as many CT rounds as possible right here. You see one Deagle actually equipped by Aaron, which could be the silver bullet, no pun intended, for BPFive to get themselves a round win to immediately kick off their T-half, but that's all up in the air currently right now. MSN with the MP9 finds one, and he is looking for more. Sprays down Fliev, and in comes Camion, mowing down T is like they're his backyard. Aaron finds one as well, but it's nothing more than a dignity frag at this stage. At the very least, it's a FAMAS recovered, and versus those MP9s, you can definitely challenge some longer range engagements. Skew them into your favor, but yeah, that bomb is stuck, isolated out of Squeaky. And at this stage, ONYX know very well what is transpiring. You got a player down below. Aaron is trying to waltz his way on in, making a little bit of noise. And with 35 seconds left, we can basically write this one off as an ONYX round. Still, though, it's not going to keep Aaron from trying his heart out. And the wide swing is going to come on through any second now. Deagle whipped on out. Manages to shut down MSN, surprisingly enough, before Coolio will, well, trade him off instead. ONYX, they hit double digits. This is a new record for them. As I said, their performance on Dust 2 really wasn't all too great. And now the fact that they've been able to hit 10 rounds, it is certainly starting to look up for them. One of the newest rosters to have been born out of Hungary. They've only been together for 21 days in total, according to HLTV. Yet to even receive a ranking on the international level. And they are giving one of the most renowned European rosters from the T3 scene a proper run for their money right here on Nuke. In BPFive, they also did see a couple of roster shuffles themselves. Don't get me wrong on that front. Everybody except for Fliav really has been part of the roster for less than a year. With I think Aaron and Gooby, or excuse me, Gooby and Kohler actually being for the roster for 2 months. And the rookie is able to find one. Both rookies actually able to make quick work of those CTs. Headshots to be found in the kill feed for the T side, as Scene will be able to find one onto Gooby. Aaron, though, quick to retort. And the bomb plant will be confirmed by BPFive right here. Bodito. A FAMAS. A Kit. 1 flash and 1 kill to his name already. 1v4 quad kill clutch? I'd say go for it, honestly. There's one, now you got 2 more to deal with. Tosses out the flash and can upgrade the FAMAS to an AK, but I think he's actually opting to save for it. How disappointing. Ah, unfortunate. Fliav will shut him down, but either way, that is an 8th round now set in stone. BPFive are looking to carve in a little bit more success into the bust of Nuke right here. At the very least, winding down the gap to 2 rounds. It's certainly starting to look much more doable for this T side. And now, given the buy on the side of ONYX, I don't want to say it's entirely in the bin, but yeah, a Scout, 5.7, P250, and 2 A1Ss, you're going to have to heavily stack up. You're going to have to heavily refrag each other, but you cannot give PL... No, you cannot give BPFive, I should say, isolated 1v1s, because that is something that they will fully thrive on. If you're not playing the CT side cohesively as a unit, you are going to falter, and you are going to falter very quickly. MSN finds Kohler to, well, clot back ever so slightly into a 4v2 scenario, but it doesn't really matter in the slightest. MSN, though, with a frag grenade, beautifully placed at that, will find one, and BPFive, they've left the bomb stranded away from any clutching arms. Stuck, I believe, either on the roof or inside of Squeaky. A small little oversight. And now they'll have to go back to recover it. ONYX, they realized that sooner rather than later, those BPFive members are going to start creeping and crawling their way towards the bomb. You've already got Aaron on the opposing side emerging from ramp, who's looking to make a play happen. Flashes once, flashes twice, as Scene finds someone onto insert. Aaron loses out on his own respective gunfight, and now it's all down to Gooby to try to salvage the round. Keep things from getting, well, actually from already going to worse. They've already been bad, but he walks right into the open arms of Scene with his pants around his ankles. And what should have been easily the most winnable round for BPFive has fallen straight through their fingertips like a handful of sand. One small mistake of leaving that bomb stranded inside of Squeaky has been converted into a round dub by ONYX. I really do hope that BPFive are going to keep themselves from making those kinds of mistakes, because, well, you make it once and look at what happened. Look at what's happened. You've basically been forced back to square one. You were forced back to using pistols and very minimal utility. You're going to likely feed ONYX a 12th round in this instance. And it can become so much more after that as well. And for those of you guys that are curious a little bit about the overall lifetime stats that we have available via HLTV for the side of BPFive, they have an effective win rate on Nuke of 54.5%, creeping up on 55%, having played it 45 times. which is nothing to sniff at. But now they are simply being set in the dirt by ONYX, and MSN will set 2 players in the dirt himself. Bodito finds one after Aaron is being tagged, not yet fragged though by the A1S of Scemed, and it's basically all gone horribly wrong, and it's straight into the bin for BPFive right here. ONYX, well, they're looking so strong, a force of nature, this CT side. Clearly, Inserts isn't a man of culture, and he doesn't watch enough Franz J. Didn't go for the funny, so a little bit disappointed in that one there, lad. But 12 rounds, 4 rounds now separate both of these two squads, and it is starting to get very worrisome for the side of BPFive. At the very least, with each one of these passing rounds, they are dealing slight economic damage in the long term, and they are forcing ONYX to reinvest the vast majority of the time, but in that last round, it was played flawlessly. And this one's gotten off to a flawless start as Bodito finds color, aggressing over towards ramp. BPFive is looking to retake that position, regain that lost territory, but little does he know that he'd have 2 players to deal with as the remainder of the Hungarian roster. They're wrapping in towards this secret position. This could go one of 2 ways. Either this firing squad will be able to land multi-kills and get the bomb down, or they will simply be spray transferred upon by none other than Bodito, who I do believe is down below, already by the rafters on B, and you can see that's where BPFive intend to exec. In a matter of moments, one of those guys is going to jump through the window. They, at the very least, will be able to mask the audio ever so slightly. Anti-flash is perfectly set up, and Bodito and Coolio strike with a well-placed crossfire. Aaron goes for the swing, and he'll meet the exact same fate. It's all down to BPFive. There's no chance in hell that he can pull a rabbit out of the top hat for this one. It's gone. This round is over. It was a good effort on the side of BPFive, but ONYX, it really just feels that at every single twist and turn, they are simply put one step ahead. And probably even 2 thoughts ahead of BPFive. And keep in mind, when it comes to Counter-Strike, one of the most important things about this game is gathering information. What does gathering information technically mean? It doesn't mean going for a jiggle peek to see where somebody is located. It also means seeing where the enemy is not located and then determining where they could actually be stood. ONYX had the perfect thought process. They weren't meeting any resistance inside of A, nor lobby, nor ramp. So where could they have gone? Outside. And thus the players that were stood over by ramp, they rotated back down to help set up a crossfire together with Bodito. And just like that, they were fed into the meat grinder, and BPFive were simply shut down left, right, and center. And it's going to be the hero AK of BPFive to lead the charge for BPFive, lead them straight to the finish line of victory. I hope. Inserts on entry will be shut down. Aaron retorts with one of his own. Missed shot by Scemed. He'll have to, well, molly himself off, but he's being cyberbullied. Gooby finds him and recovers an op. And now BPFive suddenly have a little bit more of a spring in their step. And more importantly, some weaponry to work with. Rifles and an op stacked versus, well, rifles on the side of ONYX and 30 seconds left to work with. The bomb on the back of Aaron as well. Options aplenty. But the question is, which choice is the right one for them to make? Probably not the A-bomb side. MSN is ready to meet any kind of heaven presence. So what do? Do you go down into the B bomb site and risk running into Bodito? Maybe. He swings, and that's the bomb drop. There's no time for them to secure a plant. No, that opportunity has been thrown out the window. And ONYX, once again, by the skin of their teeth, walk away with a 14th round, setting themselves 1 round away from hitting map points and 2 rounds away from drawing up the scoreline and sending us all the way to Inferno. You gotta feel for Scene right there. He played his life over by the orange box. Which, by the way, is one of the best products that Steam has ever launched. That Valve has actually ever launched. The orange box. Check it out. It's cool. It's classic. Still, though, BPFive effectively with their backs against the walls. A gap of 6 rounds to narrow down. And that's not the way you want to start it off. Double swing comes out, though, and Scene couldn't prioritize any of the 2 targets. But look at this Coolio tuck that back. Oh, no! I thought that would have worked on out, but guess what? They had another ace up their sleeves, and that was Camion. He comes in for a double swing, finds 2. And he'll quickly scamper on off before things get a little bit too hot. At the very least, this does give BPFive a little bit of room to work with. The bomb plant is secured, but now they have to hold on for dear life. Aaron is prime position for 1. He needs the 2nd as well to make this one a little bit more competitive, and there it is. MSN falls. Camion all to do versus 2 players on very low HP. 71 HP to work with collectively on the side of BPFive. But even worse, Camion, he is battered, he is beaten, he is bruised, and he will opt to go for the ninja, but he will be sprayed right into next Friday through the smoke. And BPFive, they keep ONYX in check for yet another round. Putting themselves 1 away from hitting double digits. They need this round very desperately. They need this round just about as much sun as I need in my life right now, because it is very gloomy outside, and I don't like it. Liav Law manages to actually leg Scene, and here comes Aaron. Aggressive over towards main, but he can't make it happen. He will be read into by Bodito. A sad sight to see, but at the very least, for BPFive, both Scene and Bodito actually lit up very heavily. A single 8K shot or even a Galil shot will certainly deal with them, but that is something they weren't expecting. Oh no, Scene perched up by orange box will find 1. And they've been able to stave off this ramp aggression, redirecting all of BPFive's attention towards Ham under toe. MSN strikes. He was ready for that squeaky aggression. And Camion finds 1 for himself as well. It's all down to Gooby. The Galil strikes. It does secure 1. But at this certain stage, your position is well and known. What can you do? Probably not a whole lot. And there it is. ONYX, they have secured 15 rounds to their name, leaving all of BPFive and myself completely starstruck. I was not expecting this kind of performance. Most importantly, this kind of bounce back from ONYX. After such a crippling defeat on Dust 2, I thought we were in store for yet another quick 2-0 on the A stream, but I could not have been more wrong. No sirree. A last stand attempt on the side of BPFive. Scene's already taken a shot to the chest, and he will be claimed by that scout. Perfectly cleaned up, though, by Fliav. Bodito falls outside over by Grey Container. MSN has been smoked off. He can't have any impact. And they'll just have to forfeit all of this control of outside and garage. BPFive have so much to play with, and if they actually go for a stack up over towards heaven, they will effectively lock off ONYX into a kill box. But it seems as if they're already 1 step ahead. They're willing to claim heaven back. They've already sent Camion back up. This 4v3 will continue to draw out for the next 60 seconds, give or take. As BPFive have claimed so much map control. They have ramp to work with. The bomb is on their back. They can likely go for a BX sec. Coolio was the only person manning the bomb site down below. And he's about to be in for a world of hurt. He lights up one so heavily, but that's all of the impact he can secure in that round. A double kill comes out from BPFive, and that's going to leave MSN all on his lonesome. So BPFive, they will secure double digits right here. The cash isn't looking all too bright. It's not all too fruitful on the side of ONYX, but that's fine. They have a buffer of, well, after this round, 5 rounds to work with either way. And you can see Bodito right here, not necessarily the mainstay opper on the side of ONYX, but easily the best support that you could hope to have on your side with 23 kills to his name. Has been getting multi-kills, has literally been the linchpin of almost every single one of ONYX's defenses thus far. The spray's a little bit messy. That's fine. At least he keeps the AK intact, which is all what you could really hope for if you're MSN. Still now, ONYX, they're willing to bite. They're willing to buy into this round once again. And if it goes south, yeah, it's fine. You know, you just reset the economy. You build it back up over the course of the next 2 rounds until your loss bonus is maximized. And at the end of the day, it's still BPFive with their backs against the wall that have to somehow fight for OT. Oh, messy spray coming out from Coolio, and it's going to cost him his life as Gooby also capitalizes onto Camion. MSN deep inside of Ham Under Toe is looking for a little bit of lobby aggression, and he could actually catch all of BPFive off guard if he chooses to go through with that lurk. You can see that Gooby is already in the prime position waiting for it. This 3v5 is going to be very difficult for ONYX to try to pull out. Or pull off, I should say. Who's going to bite first? Seems as if BPFive want to get a move on, but that's the wrong move. Right into MSN's LOS they go. And they lose out on 1 member. At the very least, it will be recovered. A well-placed HE, courtesy of Aaron, is going to find him instead. And now ONYX, all left to Sind and Bodito. And they're back down in the basement. They're gaming in the basement. Just like the vast majority of us are. Code has been punched on in. BPFive confirmed themselves another bomb plan, and they will likely secure an 11th round here. I really don't surmise that ONYX are going to try to combat this in any way, shape, or form. Their overall grasp on Nuke as a whole, it's starting to look a little bit less ironclad with each one of these passing rounds, and it's really difficult to pinpoint exactly what has been going wrong, because it's been going wrong on multiple fronts. And in that particular round, it was the ramp aggression. I think it was either Camion or Coolio. I'm pretty sure it was Coolio, right? That initially went for the MP9 swing onto a fully flashed Aaron and Kohler, and he lost his life. Couldn't tame the recoil, I should say, of the MP9, and that kind of went south. Either way, though, ONYX still holding on to map point. Have all the time in the world to try to close this one off. I wouldn't exactly say that at any certain point should you start getting a little bit too scared for Budapest's Five's comeback until they reach, let's say, 15 rounds. Or, I mean, 14 rounds. That's when you start to worry just a little bit too much. I have no idea exactly what happened over there, but BPFive is going to gobble that one up every day of the week. Camion in a very advanced position with no armor to his name whatsoever, has to play for his life right here and has to land these critical shots. He's spots out the head. He goes for the wide swing, gets a second as well onto Aaron, and he's hungry for a little bit more. He shuts down Fleav, secures the op, and suddenly it's gone all horribly wrong. Dare I say, the doo-doo has hit the fan for BPFive. Oh no. Where do you go from here? How do you start to recover and salvage this round? I have no earthly idea. Camion moving mountains to ensure that ONYX can wrap up Nuke as soon as humanly possible. Kolor offers himself up to the overlord that is Camion. And with 35 seconds left to do, there's not much that Gooby can actually do besides roll over and perish. Or is there? Time continues to expire. He'll choose to molly off Heaven and go for that bomb plant, but you can see ONYX are right on the case. They've already smoked it off, and they are on his case. They've caught his scent, and MSN will swiftly deal with him. ONYX, they secure a win on Nuke, 16-11, tying up our series at 1 map apiece, and that means we're going to be going to the iconic map where all the good teams, they go to die. Inferno. After a short little break, we will return with the decider of this best of 3 series between ONYX and BPFive. It has been quite the clash. It has been quite the Hungarian derby, and it all comes down to Inferno in just a short few minutes.
Flash, walk into the room, I see it's them flash. Cameras out in on me, flash. Fly as a plane on a runway. I'ma be a big star one day, flash. Can't afford to lose focus, flash. Step on stage and all the girls go flash. Straight to the hole like I'm MJ. And I'm on point like a switch, flash. Walk into the room, I see it's them flash. Cameras out in on me, flash. Fly as a plane on a runway. I'ma be a big star one day, flash. Can't afford to lose focus, flash. Step on stage and all the girls go flash. Straight to the hole like I'm MJ. And I'm on point like a switch, flash, 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 flash. Step on stage and all the girls go flash. Straight to the hole like I'm MJ. And I'm on point like a switch, flash. Walk into the room, I see it's them flash. Cameras out and on me, flash. Fly as a plane on a runway. I'ma be a big star one day, flash. Can't afford to lose focus, flash. Step on stage and all the girls go flash. Straight to the hole like I'm MJ. And I'm on point like a switch, flash, 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 flash. Walk into the room, I see it's them flash. Flash, walk into the room, I see it's them flash. Flash, walk into the room, I see it's them flash. Cameras out and on me, flash. Fly as a plane on a runway. I'ma be a big star one day, flash. Can't afford to lose focus, flash. Step on stage and all the girls go flash. Straight to the hole like I'm MJ. And I'm on point like a switch. Flash, 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 flash,
body state of mind. Dancing with somebody under cherry skies. Body state of mind, body state of mind. Dancing with somebody. Body state of mind, body state of mind. Dancing with somebody under cherry skies. Body state of mind, body state of mind. Dancing with somebody. Dancing with under cherry skies, under cherry skies. Dancing with under cherry skies.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to what is going to be our decider map within the Hungarian Derby between ONYX and BPFive. We're going all the way to Inferno. In case if you guys are just tuning in, here's a quick TLDR. Thus 2, hit or miss. Well, it was a big fat miss, unfortunately enough, for ONYX. BPFive, they stomped on them to the point that ONYX weren't able to secure more than 6 rounds throughout the course of the opening map. But, and big but, here's where things started to get a little bit spicy. It was on Nuke where ONYX started to really ramp things up, and where they really started to finally, well, basically come into their own form, and they actually put up a really amazing fight, and they really put up a lot, just an outstanding showing overall on Nuke. They were able to secure an 8-7 T half of all things, and from that point onwards, when they moved on to the CT side, it just started to get so much easier for them all in all, to the point that, yeah, there wasn't all that much that BPFive could have done. They secured Nuke 16-11, and that means that we are going the full distance all the way to the rolling hills of Tuscany. Into Inferno we hop. The obviously opening knife round to determine the sides. Not exactly sure how this one is gonna turn off. When it comes to when it comes to Inferno, it usually doesn't matter all the most, because, surprise, surprise, this is technically the most balanced map that we have to offer in the competitive pool. It has got a perfectly even round win rate for both CT and T sides of 50%. Now, on paper, that's a really, really good thing. It means that we should have a very competitive series over here, but what does that say to the individuality of both of these two squads and their own interpretations of Inferno? We're about to find out. We're going to be finding out very, very shortly. So we have BPFive. They're going to be starting off on the CT side. ONYX to take the T side out for a spin. That means, well, that's interesting for its own front. I mean, if ONYX are going to be carrying over any kind of that momentum and any kind of or any of those philosophies that they expressed and they showed to us on Nuke, then I'm all but convinced that BPFive are going to be in for a very rough and tough rumble on Inferno. ONYX, as I said, and I will continue to reiterate this until we wave goodbye to either one of these two squads, they were menacing on their T side of Nuke. And while Inferno is a different beast, you can still carry over a lot of the good bits from it. Also, if you are just tuning in for the first time, do keep in mind that we have multiple games being shown and broadcasted at the exact same time. Obviously, right now, you're watching BPFive versus ONYX, and on the B stream, we have got GTC Bulls on versus Singularity, which is also turning out to be a little bit of a hot matchup. And then on top of that, we also have broadcast in multiple languages. And speaking of multiple languages, I guess a little bit of miscommunication right there on the side of BPFive as a TK does come on through, but either way, 2v3 scenario ensues for ONYX that got off to, well, the wrong start, unfortunately enough, for them on their T side. And it's all down to Gooby with a bomb on his back, looking to maybe clutch up big time. Glock to his name as well. But he's got so many angles to worry about, and the moment that BPFive turned that corner, you know that he's going to be sprayed down so heavily, left on 12 HP. This is getting a little bit too rough and a little bit too tough. Try to secure the bomb plan of all things, get a little bit of extra cash, but going for these long-range engagements, ill-advised, my man. Little does he know he's got one player to worry about apps, one over by the hay bale as well. And they're not going to reveal themselves just yet, BPFive. Waiting for any kind of audio cue of a plant, anything to go down, really. And that's when they'll swing. And as Gooby, well, tried to tuck himself deeper into the bomb side, he will be found out by Scene right over there. So BPFive immediately off to a great start right here. It was a little bit of a long and very drawn out pistol round, but either way, that does bode well for BPFive. Not so much for ONYX. If they would have gotten the bomb plan in that scenario, I would have been like, you know, boys, go ahead and go for a forward spy and see what kind of chaos you can cause. Sadly, didn't turn out to be the case whatsoever. Cammy on, a little bit messy, taking a little bit of dink damage as well. And then Coolio, yeah. He just rocked ONYX's world. There is literally no other way for me to put it besides he rocked their world, and he did a great job at it as well. That was, whew, ooh, spicy stuff coming out from the MP9 versus pistols. But versus pistols, no more. Budapest shall now fight against AKs. And this could go either way. This can get really spicy. For both sides. Early exchange of util as the Molotovs will finally dissipate over towards Banana, so BPFive can advance a little bit further. And they have opted to fight a war on two fronts. A little bit of aggression and a little bit of presence over towards the apartment side as well as over to Banana. You can see they've left the bomb close by T ramp just because they're a bit indecisive and they're waiting for moves to be made. Still though, we have the benefit of those silhouettes and the minimap, and we know for a fact that if BPFive go for if they go for this execution over towards the B bomb site, which now, as I say it, ONYX have actually rotated 2 players over to more properly reinforce the B bomb site. It would have been the correct choice for them either way. Still though, now not so much. ONYX seem to be prime and ready for this. Do they spot out the top angle it's seen as taken up? They do after he's gotten a frag. MSN though, tugged deep inside of the bomb site, finds a double piece with the MP9 and he's looking for a third as well. Inserts will shut him down, but at what cost? A 2v3 as the bomb plant goes down. This is definitely winnable for BPFive, but Inserts is on very low HP. They're going to be relying heavily on Gooby to do a lot of the heavy lifting in this instance. And Coolio does have a smoke as well as a flashbang to boot. Now that the flash and the util is, well, been tossed on out, you can see BPFive are so uncomfortable. They have minimal space to work with. Down comes Bonito flying through. Inserts finds the first. He gets the second. Gooby to chime in with the final frag of the round as well. BPFive get away by the skin of their teeth, quite literally. I was convinced that that should have been an ONYX round, but apparently I couldn't have been more wrong. At the very least, right now, we have been able to get big old green in the hands of Seamed. So this is where things are going to get either a little bit sketchy for BPFive or just downright detrimental. They don't exactly have the funds to invest into an op of their own just yet. Probably in due time, the T side of BPFive will be able to get themselves a sniper rifle, but for now they'll have to hold off. MSN holding off those T's with an A1S of his own, finds the opener onto Aaron, and Fleav, he's actually managed to slip by the smoke, accompanied by some extra bodies. Bonito finds one onto Color, and the molly is perfect in towards Shadow. Fleav pixels away from being burnt down to a crisp as BPFive have also, in tandem, taken control of Long. All the CTs present on the A-bomb site, they are physically tucked inside of it. BPFive, they're not being presented with any duels, no engagements, nothing for them to work with. ONYX, they're keeping themselves as well hidden as your local mole rat. Flashbang toss on out. Bonito flirting with the idea of going with a swing, but it's going to be Inserts to swing instead. Coolio falls. Bonito fully flashed and eating up nade damage as well. He'll have to go for a swing, and he does. Inserts finds him. MSN, good for the double. Interested in a third, but hell, it's Camion to get the job done instead. ONYX secure a third round for themselves. Oh boy, that got almost a little bit too sketchy the moment that I saw Inserts' name twice in the kill feed. I thought, and I genuinely thought that he would have been the guy to literally carry BPFive over the finish line in that instance, but nope. Couldn't have been more wrong. Bonito and Coolio, or actually, excuse me, it was MSN with a collateral right here. Dinks aplenty, but still no kills to be found on the side of BPFive, except for 2 right now, as the Deagle will have to come in to save the day. An AK and an MP9 recovered. I guess those are some fairly decent loot items to reward yourself with for your quest. At the very least now, BPFive, they do stand a bit of a fighting chance right here. And you can tell for a fact that, you know, despite ONYX's lead, it's not the most comfortable. Only 2 rounds separate these two squads. And now that the weaponry of the MP9 and AK has fallen into the hands of BPFive, yeah, that can change basically in the blink of an eye. One tap to the head from BPFive onto any one of those CTs could be detrimental for ONYX. And they're creeping their way even further towards this B-bomb site. But they have to do it the good old-fashioned way. No util to work with, and they win up the heads-up gunfight against Seend. That should have not have happened for ONYX. They've lost out on the B-bomb site because of the fact that they also rotated Coolio off, and now it's down to himself and MSN to see if they can maybe secure a round here. Inserts about to lock horns. Inching his way ever so close. The flash is perfect, but Inserts was ready for it. Coolio, he has to back off, keep this op intact. What a blunder on the side of ONYX. BPFive had nothing but Glocks and 1 Deagle to work with. And as I said, those salvaged rifles that Inserts and BPFive are holding on to, they have drastically shifted the tides of this matchup. They have drastically changed the pace of Inferno. And that 2v3 was just so beautifully played by BPFive. It all started off with getting that coffin pick. Which, as I said, you gotta be ready for it if you're Seend. You gotta be ready for it. Still though, ONYX are, well, they have to put up a fight. There is nothing else that they really can do. They can't just roll over in this stage. MSN with a Deagle up top in apps. Tries to maybe get himself a lucky pick onto Inserts, but he will bite the dust very quickly on that one. Seend also to capitalize onto color, trading things back out into a 4v4. That op, it's going to be paramount for ONYX's success in this round. It needs to come alive, it needs to activate, and it needs to find impact where it's necessary. And I love this call from ONYX. No information, no contact being found onto A, so you rotate the boys over towards B. Camion finds 1, thanks to the boost. Inserts will capitalize, though, as Coolio, tucked in over by Quad, will be read into. Seend. He fires back with the op. And now it's a bit uncomfortable to go for a plant. They'll have to smoke it off. Bodito, he actually creeps through, and somehow Seend finds Gooby. Now it's down to BPFive, tucked in through the smoke. Manages to maybe find a pixel to work with, but nothing is being handed his way. No! He falls, and Bodito secures it with the Deagle. The defuse comes on through. And ONYX hold their ground. The gamble to rotate 2 bodies and keep that B-bomb site firmly into a 4v4 situation paid off massively. It was after that frag that Seend put up that we were left in a 4v4 scenario. BPFive knew what they wanted to toy with. They wanted to get this B exec off, and ONYX was like, hey bro, how about we meet you there? We'll meet you halfway. And BPFive were not expecting it in the slightest. Very aggressive angle already being taken up by Seend. Smoked off, and now, well, also flashed off. MSN, oh lord. Caught lacking right there, as now Bodito will have to pick up the slack. He's good for 1. Inserts trades him out, though. The A-bomb site fully compromised. ONYX, nowhere to be seen, nowhere to be found right here. It's nothing but red dots that fill up the minimap over towards A. And you can already see it, you can already tell ONYX, they're not willing to fight this. There's nothing that they can do. As much as they'd want to, as much as they would like to, they simply can't try. Their funds are so very low. The actual economy on both squads is so very low. And for ONYX, to avoid their economy being broken to smithereens, they have to keep these rifles intact. And maybe, hell, MSN and Bodito, they will likely have to pick up Deagles in the next round. But still, though, BPFive, they get themselves a third round over here on the T side. It is starting to look very strong. It's starting to look very stern as well. Still, though, they've been really reluctant to actually bring out the... They've been very reluctant to bring out an op on the side of BPFive, which is a little bit strange. I mean, I guess when it comes to Inferno, it's one of those maps that you can pull off relatively well on the T side without the need of an op. And if you've obviously got nobody that's actually comfortable doing it, then more power to you. Maybe it's just something of a personal choice that BPFive has taken up. Still, though, plenty of aggression is signed. We'll be able to find one. Camion goes in for the swing as well, gets himself the mainstay, supposed opper of BPFive, and he's good for a double as well. Oh goodness, this is all fallen apart for BPFive, and just after they got their economy sorted out, it is likely to be ripped to shreds again. ONYX, they will happily gobble that one up. Aaron, all on his lonesome, about to walk into a horrendous crossfire, but he reads MSN. He doesn't read Bodito, though. ONYX take a fifth. They reap the rewards, salvage those AKs, and they're looking stronger than ever, but it is still very competitive, don't get me wrong. A couple of minor setbacks for BPFive is not all too bad in the grand scheme of things. There's only 2 rounds that still separate these 2 squads. But the question is, when does it break? It might break here. Deagles, Tech 9s, and a P250 is all that BPFive have to work with in Camion. First point of contact as Coolio joins in on the fun. Color burns Kubi down to a crisp as well, and Aaron tries to tap away, but gets tapped himself. ONYX seem to have broken free from the shackles of BPFive on the CT side. They've doubled their scoreline. And even for BPFive, it's not entirely safe to purchase just yet. Inserts, what can you really buy in this stage? Maybe a Deagle and some armor and a flash? I don't know. Everyone else, they're okay. But still, though, it is looking a bit rough right here for BPFive. And obviously my mind is starting to think to myself, like, damn, ONYX are really putting up one of the most bombastic performances that we have seen in quite a while from the T3 scene. This roster, bear in mind, has just formed 3 weeks ago. They are basically as newborn as they come when it comes to a roster's totality within Counter-Strike. And they're able to stick it to one of the rosters that is within the top 80. It's pretty damn impressive. And trust me, I genuinely thought that Dust 2, after we had actually seen Dust 2, that it was going to be a quick 2-0 for BPFive. It would have seemed so effortless, but ONYX, as I said, they've turned over a new leaf. Aaron has the right idea. Can't exactly get the frag, though, and Coolio about to make contact, finds one. Bodito trades it out, though. Deagle swapped out for an AK as Inserts, gets another onto scene. Bodito in a world of hurt, and the same thing can be said for MSN. BPFive have rendered ONYX down to one sole survivor. Camion doesn't exactly know what's transpired. BPFive have rotated all the way to B. And Gooby, or excuse me, Aaron, is already outside a library. Waiting to kiss Kaimion goodnight on the forehead. Ooh, that one's gonna sting. But at the very least, it's not going to sting all too badly. And you can definitely see for a fact that ONYX, they were really, really stern on the refrag game right there. Especially in towards that short progression that BPFive were trying to exhibit. They were able to keep them on lock for just a little bit longer. But, yeah, if they had an extra body, you start to think, what could have been? A potential A exec to play with? I like this. This is a first that we're seeing from BPFive. An actual exec through the apps directly down to the balcony they go. Still no lethality, no contact to be made, but Gooby strikes. He finds one, goes for the second onto MSN. And the B bomb site has once again fallen ONYX. Unfortunately enough for them, they're forced to rinse and repeat the exact same Doomsday Protocol. You lose 2 members on the A bomb site, head for the hills. Keep these weapons intact. You don't want to sit at the mercy of that CT economy, but at the end of the day, if you can't deliver any kind of impact, it just gets rough. BPFive narrowing the gap down to 1 round. They don't have the best of money to play with, so going on the hunt for these weapons could be a little bit ill-advised, but I guess you may as well try your hand while you're at it. They do lose 1 body to the op of Sino right there, but it's not the worst. And also, I do see someone in chat correcting me. I thought it was Seamed. I thought that, yeah, it's definitely a Slend. That looks like an L or a capital I. But we shall refer to the main opera of ONYX as Slend. Yes, sir. ONYX not sparing one fund whatsoever, ensuring that everyone is geared up right and properly. And that's a Molotov already tossed on out to stave off the progression. Inserts with another smoke, trying to progress even further as there are 2 bodies close up by sandbags. A swing at the right time could be very detrimental for ONYX, and there it is. Inserts gets the first. Coolio retorts, though. He's looking for a little bit more, and the A1S comes alive for the double, but that's about it. Gooby will shut him down instead. 3v3 as the B bomb site has collapsed once more. And this time, you know for a fact that ONYX are looking to retake. Bodito also needs to join in on the fun over by Binans. If he's able to find the player that is tucked in by half wall, that's Kolor, then that'll be huge. They'll box in the remaining 2 players of Aaron and Gooby in the bomb site physically. The swing comes and it's a miss. Kolor capitalizes instead. 2v3 now. Slend and MSN running out of time very, very quickly. They can't afford to go for this. They'll have to smoke themselves off and once again save the op and the A1S, but no! Shots through the smoke. The AR will fall alongside the sad corpse of MSN. Slend walks away with the op, but at what cost? BPFive have successfully tied up the scoreline once more, keeping the CT side of ONYX in check. Putting quite the massive win streak of rounds themselves as well. And at this certain stage, it can physically be anybody's game. But an op? Surrounded by deagles? I don't know what to think of this. I don't know if this is going to work out. I mean, Slend as an opper, I don't even think he's been able to average 1 kill per round in the last couple, let's say in the last 5 to 6 rounds. He's not actually able to find impact where it is sorely necessary, and that's just a little bit heartbreaking to see. And because of the fact that he's not able to find any kind of impact, he's not able to get kills, multi-kills, whatever it may be, he is forced to save that sniper rifle each and every single round. Which is fine. But it's not fine if you're not purposing it correctly later on. That's where the problems start to arise. Gooby shuts down MSN. 5v3 now as Bodito will also fall. Aaron is lit up a whole bunch thanks to a couple of dings, but you know for a fact it's going to be tough to clean him up. Gooby disrespecting Camion right there. Oh boy. And so Slend and Coolio forced to do what they do best. How do you put an end to this? How do you stop BPFive from simply kicking down the door, barging through the main entrance, and taking what's theirs? How do you put your foot down if you're ONYX? Do you just have to win your ones? Do you just have to click on heads better? Is there a different underlying layer that we're just not seeing yet? I really don't know. It's an architectural issue with the map. You gotta spread your forces so thin on the CT side, it becomes so much more crucial that you get yourself an opening pick. And if you manage to get away with it untraded, well, that's already the best step you can take to success. Coolio shuts down Fliav. That's exactly what I'm talking about. BPFive have no realistic manner to trade that back off. And so ONYX are going to be very, very complacent with that one. And ONYX are looking to block off BPFive from progressing any further, forcing them to maybe have a change of heart and redirect their attention over towards that B bomb site. If that actually is the plan for ONYX, then I probably would have rotated one man off by now, because you have done a good job of staving them off with your utility. If Slend maybe catches a pixel of somebody's leg, then the call will come on through, but at the very least, I would have expected Coolio to have been so much closer. If BPFive simply toss out one flashbang and Slend isn't ready for it, boom, GG's, game over. Budapest, they would hit 5, or excuse me, they would hit 8 in this instance, but Slend delivers, tosses out the incendiary, and now is going to be difficult for BPFive to cross. They have to buy themselves a little bit of extra time. Let's see, Slend catches a pixel to work with, pulls the trigger at the wrong moment. Coolio strikes, Kolor does as well. And the bomb is deep inside a CT. It's out in the open. Camion finds Kohler as he was trying to retrieve the bomb, and he gets a second as well onto Aaron. ONYX have finally given us a sign of life at the 11th hour. They find themselves a 7th round. That 8th and final round of this first half, it is supple, it is up for grabs, and it can basically be earned by anyone. And I'm not exactly sure if my eyes are deceiving me, but have ONYX just randomly decided, screw it, let's buy 3 ops? Because if they have, respect. Simply no other way that I can put it. If they have the balls to pull off a 3 ops setup, be my guest. Impress me. I would love to see it happen. I'd love nothing more than to see this triple op setup just literally paint the kill feed, but apparently I think one's been dropped, or my eyes were actually deceiving me the entire time, and I'm nothing but a big fat old liar. Camion, missed shot, flashed. We'll have to force the incendiary back. And Coolio, oh, goodness gracious. That was a must-win, and he's lost it. Camion, beautiful flick onto Gooby right there. But how do you contest this? You have to wait for the molly to dissipate, and the nades start flying on in as well. He is eating up so much damage. You have to wait for the rest of the party to join in on the fun. You have to wait for MSN and for Slend to wrap in through Banana the exact same way that Aaron is trying to wrap in through CT, and you can see, oh lord, it's all gone horribly wrong. It's all down to Slend in a 1v3. A trade comes on through, and Fliav rewarded with the final kill right there will shut down Sled. BPFive, they take the half 8-7 on Inferno. It is as clean cut and as even Steven as the series could be thus far, but we've still got a second half that is going to be coming up very shortly after this break. and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. 8-7 right now in the Hungarian derby between ONYX and BPFive. It is getting hot, it is getting sweaty, and it's still not over yet. That second half, it is just over the horizon, and it is about to turn a sharp right corner as we are going to head back into the rolling hills of Tuscany on Inferno. It is starting to look really, really good, and at the very least, it is starting to look very, very good for BPFive. Unfortunately enough for ONYX, they couldn't really recreate the exact same success that they saw at the initial start of that half on that CT side. They kind of just flopped for a couple of rounds, and BPFive, they got themselves a win streak of, I think, about like 4 to 5 rounds by the end of it. Very difficult for ONYX to shut down, but moving into the second half, as I said, it's about as even Steven as you can find it and as you would like it. 8-7 is the score line, and it can still be anybody's game. It just really boils down to how this pistol round is going to go. If ONYX pick it up on the T side, great. You tied up the scoreline 8-8. However, if BPFive take it on the CT side, which stereotypically is supposed to be the more favored side across the climate of modern CSGO, then they are likely going to hit a 9th, maybe even a 10th afterwards. So it's paramount that ONYX are able to get themselves strapped in and ready for this pistol round, which could be the most important that they have played thus far. I think they want to go for a swing. Never mind, they don't want to go for a swing anymore. That would have been such a sick play if BPFive actually wanted to go forward with it. There were 2 players on Banana that would have been as blind as a bat, with 2 CT swinging on through, but oof, they've redirected their attention over towards the A apps, and BPFive will be the first to know that fact. Set down to 31 HP. Now the rest of ONYX looking to join in on the fun as well. Flashbang and a smoke to be tossed on out as Aaron stood, well, inside a shadow waiting for some kind of short aggression as Camion will kick things off. Aaron falls, as I said, inside of short. BPFive holds down the fort, but only gets away with just the one. Bodito now with the P250 looking to maybe bop some heads. He's got 2 to deal with, finds 1. His color will eventually shut him down. 2v3, the bomb goes down as well. Insert, lovely find onto MSN though. That puts us back into a 2v2. Slend will have to force. Ah, it's so close. Ah, Coolio's got his back. No sweat, Boba Fett. And now it's all down to Color. He's got 2 to deal with and can't land the headshot onto Coolio right there. If he did, he could have definitely 180'd over towards Slend and just pow. That would have been something awesome, but no. A very important pistol round already picked up by ONYX. They have cash to work with. They have tied up the scoreline. And BPFive, well, seems as if they're going for a full-on force in this instance. And look at what BPFive are doing right now. They have basically stationed up so many people over towards the B-bomb site. And if I'm not mistaken, they have left none other than, I think that's BPFive, all on his lonesome over towards the A-bomb site. Or actually, no, I think it might be Aaron. Either way, though, the remaining 4 members on the side of BPFive, they're all on that B-bomb site, and they're about to be in for a rude awakening right here. I think ONYX are willing to bite. I think they're willing to attack, show their grit, show their ferocity as Camion strikes. He gets 2, goes in for the 3rd, but it's ripped away by Slend instead. They know there's a tertiary player stuck inside a coffin. Inserts. He's gone now as well. It's all down to BPFive, who is so far away from the action. He is worlds apart. That gamble stack on towards the B-bomb site, it could have turned out to be something so beautiful on the side of BPFive. And when you've got a force buy of scouts surrounded by Deegs, you usually expect that to You can usually expect that kind of gamble sack with 4 people on the B-bomb site to actually work out, but Camion, he's just an entirely different beast when you put an AK in his hands. He will scrounge up multi-kills and make it seem so effortless. And unfortunately enough for BPFive, still no additional funds. Not all too much to work with. They are stuck with P250s and a dig as well. BPFive has basically just been blown to smithereens, deleted from existence. The IGL will have to call shots from the spectator screen now, unfortunately. And MSN is maybe expecting a little bit of aggression coming in through apps. And ONYX are once again opting to rotate back on through to meet this aggression, meet the entire lineup of BPFive. Player spotted out towards short as another swings on through. Inserts will be claimed. Aaron takes a boatload of damage as Collar will be found out, and just like that, it is very easy pickings. ONYX on janitor duty, cleaning up the entire map of those pesky CTs. And now BPFive with rifles and an AWP to work within the hands of BPFive. This is where things can get a little bit hot. This is where things can get just a little bit more interesting for BPFive if they can put up some kind of resistance, put up some kind of a fight. MSN flashed out, but Aaron's not going to push that. And MSN, let's see. Aaron finds one onto... Oh. Excuse me about that one. Sorry about that one, ladies and gents. My throat just decided to die for no reason. Yeah, my throat's still a little bit dead. It's not fun. It's not fun. I need to get myself a cup of warm tea, a little bit of honey as well. Either way, though, that was ONYX putting up an 11th round. BPFive seemingly a little bit lost on that CT side. That was a big clean sweep coming out from ONYX. And BPFive once again forced to use deagles in this instance. Couple of smokes, couple of frags as well, so, you know, not all hope is lost, but they have yet to actually toss out that util, and as you can see, ONYX, they're playing very reserved about the entire situation. They might be a little bit scared about the fact that those HEs might come swinging on in. MSN playing the exact same position as he did last round, this time with an AK instead of a MAC-10. And ONYX have yet to realistically move out of T-ramp. Is this the mind games that they are trying to pull off? Are they trying to force BPFive to be greedy? I really don't know. I mean, there's nothing wrong with playing this reserved, but we don't know what the intention is on the side of BPFive at the very least, or on the side of ONYX, excuse me. They will secure a frag onto one player, that is BPFive, as Goopy is trying to duel things out with Deagle. Missed shots, MSN to molly it back though. Force them into the balcony, into his open arms. Maybe he spots out one head, tries to spray it through. A little bit messy, but he finds Gooby on the interim. And now in a 5v3 scenario, you got 3 deagles and still 2 unused frag grenades. Camion, back turned. That's a weapon lost to the CTs, an AK that will very much come in handy in future rounds for BPFive. They're looking to keep it intact for as long as possible. I also do very much appreciate the fact that ONYX, and more specifically Slend, has decided to bring out the AWP on the T side. It's not something that BPFive actually even bothered to do on their first half. But at the end of the day, they didn't really need it. BPFive felt much more comfortable just rocking an AR instead, and they were able to get themselves 8 rounds. But since then, nada. Including this round, ONYX have now basically won the last and first 5 rounds of this second half right here. So where do you go from here for you, BPFive? What is the secret to even getting a smidgen of success on this on the CT side? They'll make some drastic adjustments, double op setup as well as an AUG to boot on the side of BPFive. They're willing to play this just a little bit more aggressively if Caller's entry is anything to go off of. They will strip the AWP out of the cold, dead hands from ONYX, rendering it entirely unusable. And MSN looking to get antsy, hungry for kills over towards short, but little does he know that BPFive, he's got that position on lock. The moment that someone exposes themselves, you know they're going to be tapped straight into next Friday. Util's going to come on out. At the very least, it was for the shadow boost, but nobody's up there. No, BPFive missed shot, actually. Hello? Is this reality? Coolio finds one onto Aaron as well. It's Gooby to try to hold things down. He will be traded off, though. This has gone completely south for BPFive. You first got BPFive, who missed an op shot over towards Boiler. You've then got Aaron, who was literally shot off of the app's balcony without so much as even firing a single shot. Gooby was effectively the only person that really made impact during that execution. And he was traded off instantly by Coolio. This T side from ONYX is looking just about as good as their T side on Nuke. I mean, hell, they have yet to even drop a round right here in the second half. BPFive are struggling to get any kind of magic, any kind of success going for themselves. And you know me, I did dub this particular map as the team where, or the map where good teams go to die on. BPFive looking a little bit lifeless right now, honestly. Only one AWP to work with in this time, and BPFive, he is going to be perched up. Not on A this time, I think over towards Banana instead, looking for an aggressive angle, but no one is there to meet him. No, the entirety of ONYX, they're over by mid and second mid. They're once again willing to bite down on this A bomb site, and BPFive realize that, well, it's a little bit too calm, so there might be a storm coming very soon. Flashbang tossed on out. Smokes the block off LOS and to let them advance even further as Camion strikes. Aaron will retort with one of his own. MSN shuts down Caller, and it's back down to a 4v3 scenario. Inserts, has the high ground, but only good for one. Slend will shut him down, and Aaron tucked deep inside of the smoke. Over by the hay bale, is trying to play for his life, but gets caught on the retreat. BPFive, good for one with the op, has to swap it out to the A1S as the bomb plant is now to be, well, confirmed, basically. Taking the high ground, maybe onto the hay bale. Suspects that one's on graveyard, and that confirms his suspicions. He finds MSN, and he's got a second to deal with. But it's actually Bodito, who is tucked in. Hard left. 9 o'clock is where you need to swing, Fliav. Clearing out corners, doesn't spot. And Bodito will secure that frag. A headshot to claim the life of Fliav. ONYX, they hit 14. We're once again seeing an absolute repeat of the scoreline that we saw earlier on Nuke. ONYX, they have extended that gap all the way to 6 rounds. BPFive, they're still willing to put up a fight. And these last couple of rounds, they've gotten so much closer. With each and every single passing round, ONYX, they're starting to get away just by the skin of their teeth a little bit more. But they have yet to find the leaderboard in this second half. That's the worrisome part. That's the part that needs to be changed. Fliav spotted out a gun barrel, and now he's going to be blocked off. Maybe a boost exhibited so he can get a little bit of high ground to work with. I'm doubtful about it, though. All of ONYX, they've rotated back over towards this bomb site, to which Inserts is the only person to lock it down. He will call for help. Flashbangs toss on through, and he will spray down one. He'll get a second, actually. Camion will be able to confirm the trade at the very least. Then Fliav comes in to the rescue, finds another onto Coolio. A 2v4 ensues. And there's Aaron striking once more onto Slen, the mainstay opera of ONYX. No longer for this world, as Camion will successfully find one, but that's all he can get away with. ONYX, they tried to commit daylight robbery once again, but BPFive, more specifically Aaron right there, stringing together a double kill that has finally netted BPFive their first round on the CT side. Better late than never, I guess. And I do believe a short little tag timeout was called on the side of ONYX. Probably just to sort of disrupt BPFive a little bit and not let them carry on that momentum. Or at least try to stave it off just a little bit. Either way, BPFive, once again, willing to employ that double op setup. Didn't work out all too well in the past for them. When it's just Fliav doing the work, it can work out. Aaron already kicking things off, finds one onto Coolio, but Bodito finds him with his back turned. Aaron was expecting a flashbang, not a fistful of bullets, let's be fair. MSN leading the charge, the tip of the spear. And there's one on the hay bale that's about to swing the corner. Is he going to be ready for it? Maybe not. So, though, ONYX have yet to actually commit. They've left the bomb over by T-Ramp, and it will be recovered, but question is, where do you choose to bite down? Fliav v Slend. Who's going to be the first to swing? Fliav, and Slend will pull that trigger. A crisp kill as Gooby is left stuck isolated inside a pit. Smokes himself off, finds one onto Camion. And he can continue to be a nuisance as the bomb plant will be confirmed. Slend shuts down Inserts as well. Caller looking for an angle, but none are being presented. And Gooby inside the pit will finally be dealt with. This has gone all wrong for BPFive. Caller has to keep this intact, and his shoulder's already been spotted out. He's being harassed a little bit through that wall. ONYX, they are going to sit very comfortably on map and series point over here. The comeback, it is more than real. It is a looming threat that is breathing down the necks of BPFive. Dust 2 went in their favor. That was our opening map. In BPFive, they took it very dominantly, 16-5 if I'm not mistaken. And then ONYX, they've clapped back with Nuke, a map of their own. 11-6, as you can see in the top right, and Inferno is about to be claimed by them as well. This could potentially be the very last round that we get to see in the Hungarian Derby between these two squads. Slend and the rest of the squad. Oh, inserts. Good job to tame that recoil and narrowly scampers away with 6 HP after being burnt down so heavily. MSN, check 3 o'clock, buddy. Sees the gun barrel, but Fleav was quicker to react. Oh, Lord. That's gone a little bit south right there for MSN. But the rest of the troops, they've got to soldier on through. Flashbang comes on through, and that forces Kolar off. Inserts is the next to fall. And Kolar's also gone down to the wayside. Now ONYX have a shot to close off Inferno in rapid fashion. BPFive, it's now up to them to see how they can handle the situation, what they can do to try to stave off ONYX and keep the dream alive just a little bit longer. Fleaf already has found one onto Bodito. 2v3 as the flashbangs start pouring on through. The crossfire is good by Coolio. And Aaron's already on very low HP. He will be cleaned up, and it's all down to Gooby. Spot out over by those barrels. And that is it. BPFive no longer have a say in the matter whatsoever. They lose out on their first outing right here in the HCG Masters Season 1, 2-1, and that was such a gut-wrenching loss for them as well. They basically just got reverse sweeped so heavily by ONYX, and it was a little bit tough to witness. ONYX showing us what they are truly made of. Whichever way you cut it, they put up one hell of a performance after I was about to write them off on Dust 2. Either way, it was a great showing from both teams, and after Dust 2, it started to get very competitive. And things are going to get only more competitive from here on out. Keep in mind that we do have one more match on the docket for you guys on the A stream. That is going to be Sangal versus Royals. And on the B stream, which you can find by typing HCG_CSGO_B in your search bar, you will come across it. You will find Herosity versus Los Reyes, which should also be a great matchup to witness. And after that, that will conclude our opening day of the HCG Masters Season 1. I do also want to quickly shout out our sponsors. Go ahead and check out Plasma as well as Coin Motion. I almost blundered it so heavily. Actually, I did blunder it. Coin Motion and Plasma. Go ahead and check them out for gamer subs and for Finland's leading platform on cryptocurrency trading in its entirety. Cool guys, be sure to check them out. But with that being said, that is it that you will see from me today. I shall be returning in just a couple of days' time. For now, you guys will be able to listen to the very soothing voice of a bloke named Ranar as he will be taking you through the last match that we have here on the A stream. But for now, take care, and we'll see you very shortly for our last matchup in a few minutes after this short break.